Chapter 201, Mountain Sea Seal.
Lin Jiufeng's sword slashed out.
His aura was completely different from yesterday.
Behind him, Bai Tiandi's eyes narrowed.
He realized that today and yesterday's Lin Jiufeng were two different people. Clang!
When Lin Jiufeng's sword move was unleashed, the aura exuded at the start of his attack already surpassed his previous peak yesterday. Moreover, as the sword energy slashed out, everything in the world was blocked by the light as it directly slashed at Old Man Luo.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
The void itself was cut open.
Both mountain and sea descended, bringing with them the powerful aura of Old Man Luo.
The scene was mind-numbing.
But Lin Jiufeng's sword energy was even more terrifying. It directly moved against the current and faced the huge phenomenon of both the mountain and sea.
It collided against them. In front of Lin Jiufeng, Old Man Luo's mountain and sea attack were as fragile as tofu. They couldn't withstand a single blow and were directly cut apart. Then, the sword energy swam in the air like a dragon. It appeared in front of Old Man Luo and bore down. Old Man Luo's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly reached out and drew a circle in the air, forming a defensive barrier. After the first defensive barrier appeared, Old Man Luo stretched out his hand and expanded it to 99 defensive barriers.
Barriers, block!
Old Man Luo shouted and pushed the defensive barriers in front of him.
Lin Jiufeng watched coldly.
His eyelids drooped as he directly slashed down with his sword.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
The defensive barriers directly exploded layer by layer without any resistance. Out of the 99 defensive barriers that Old Man Luo had set up, 90 were instantly shattered. He was so shocked that he was dumbfounded. He was amazed by the power of Lin Jiufeng's strike. In the very next moment, the remaining 9 layers of defense also shattered.
Crack! Old Man Luo turned pale with fright.
He forcefully withstood Lin Jiufeng's sword strike by frantically manifesting his true chi to block.
Boom! But he still couldn't withstand it. He was directly sent downwards. He was struck from the sky and dropped in front of Lin Jiufeng. Coincidentally, his legs fell first. Dong!
After he smashed down, the ground shook a few times. A huge pit appeared, dust flew everywhere. When the dust dissipated, Lin Jiufeng stared at the pit.
Old Man Luo was kneeling in the huge pit.
The area around the huge pit had split apart and was filled with cracks. He looked up and saw Lin Jiufeng looking at him calmly. The latter was still holding the sword in his hand.
Do you still insist on leaving? Lin Jiufeng asked. Old Man Luo took a deep breath.
Then, he stood up, patted the dust off his body, and shook his head. I suddenly feel that the mountain sea realm is a nicer environment to live in.
Is that so? Go back then.
Lin Jiufeng curtly replied. Because a line of words appeared before his eyes.
Defeated Old Man Luo and sign in for the Mountain Sea Seal. Mountain Sea Seal?
Lin Jiufeng raised his brows.
A piece of memory entered Lin Jiufeng's mind.
Then, he understood everything about the Mountain Sea Seal. The Mountain Sea Seal was originally used to seal the door of the Mountain Sea realm. This time, I won't have to worry about the people inside coming out in droves.
I can just release one person every day.
Lin Jiufeng was both surprised and delighted. This treasure sure was a pleasant surprise. Lin Jiufeng didn't expect to receive such a good item for defeating Old Man Luo.
This softened Lin Jiufeng's attitude.
He didn't choose to kill the old man. Old Man Luo was about to return to the Mountain Sea realm, but he immediately saw Bai Tiandi in the distance.
He asked in surprise, why is he here then?
He also came from the Mountain Sea realm.
I defeated him just like you, Lin Jiufeng replied. Then why didn't he return to the Mountain Sea realm? Old Man Luo asked quizzically. He wants to stay in this world.
I gave him the permission to stay, but he is not allowed to leave this oasis.
Lin Jiufeng explained. Then I shall stay too.
I'll accept the same terms as him.
Old Man Luo didn't plan on going back anymore.
He squeezed out a smile and looked at Lin Jiufeng.
Why? Lin Jiufeng was really curious now.
Bai Tiandi said that he would rather stay behind and be watched by Lin Jiufeng than return to the Mountain Sea realm. Lin Jiufeng understood that the young man might just be tired of the Mountain Sea realm's scenery. But now that old man Luo also wanted to stay, Lin Jiufeng couldn't help but suspect that there was a problem in the Mountain Sea realm.
You don't know? Old man Luo surreptitiously glanced towards Bai Tiandi. I didn't tell him. Bai Tiandi placed his hands behind his back. Then let me tell you the reason.
In return, let me stay here, old man Luo said to Lin Jiufeng.
All right.
Lin Jiufeng nodded in agreement.
The Mountain Sea realm itself isn't that big. There are millions of citizens in the Mountain Sea realm.
Although the spiritual energy and cultivation resources in the realm are abundant, those above the boundless realm only treat the realm as a cage.
Old man Luo sighed. A cage?
Lin Jiufeng raised his brows.
That's right.
Although the spiritual energy in the main world has a cycle of weakening and recovery every few thousand years, making the cultivators suffer indescribably, the heavenly Tao of the main world is complete.
The heavenly Tao in the Mountain Sea realm is incomplete. There are also too many restrictions on the powerhouses in the Mountain Sea realm.
I would rather stay here and comprehend the complete heavenly Tao than return to the Mountain Sea realm even with its abundant spiritual energy.
It's uncomfortable to live there. Old man Luo explained. I see.
Lin Jiufeng suddenly understood.
So that was the case. Then you can stay here. When the powerhouses of this world have caught up with you lot, I will let you two go out to explore this world. Lin Jiufeng waved his hand and let the two of them leave.
Old man Luo sighed helplessly.
He couldn't defeat Lin Jiufeng, so he had no choice but to obey. But he didn't feel hopeless either.
He knew that after a careful comprehension of the main world's heavenly Tao, he would be able to defeat Lin Jiufeng and leave this place.
Old man Luo had the same plan as Bai Tiandi. He was very smart and chose to stay in the ancient city.
Lin Jiufeng knew what they were thinking, but he really didn't take their thoughts to heart.
Could they become stronger faster than him? Rumble.
In the very next moment, someone was about to come out from the door of the Mountain Sea realm again.
Old man Luo and Bai Tiandi, who were about to enter the ancient city, watched curiously. They wanted to know who was about to come out. But Lin Jiufeng didn't give the person a chance to come out. He directly activated the Mountain Sea seal. Only one person can come out every day.
Lin Jiufeng stated coldly.
He can only sign in and receive a reward once a day. Defeating two people consecutively in a day would be a waste of reward. He wouldn't receive any benefit after defeating the second person. Bang! Bang! Bang!
The Mountain Sea realm directly sealed the door of the Mountain Sea realm. Although the sealed door was still slowly opening, people inside couldn't come out anymore. The Mountain Sea seal happened to correspond to the Mountain Sea realm.
With this seal, the people inside wouldn't be able to open the door without Lin Jiufeng's consent. When old man Luo and Bai Tiandi saw this, they instantly lost interest. They turned around and left in the direction of the ancient city.
As for Lin Jiufeng, he started cutting wood and building his own courtyard nearby. He planned on signing in here for a long time. He wanted to become stronger here just like what he had done in the Cold Palace.
For Lin Jiufeng, this was the lifestyle that he wanted. Just like in the Cold Palace, he wanted a slow pace in life. Little cat, we will settle here.
Lin Jiufeng hugged the white cat and said,
As long as you are around, anywhere with you is my home. The white cat sweetly smiled. Chapter 202, Yet Again Another Rain. The person who wanted to come out already had 1 foot outside.
But before that person could come out, he was then directly sealed by Lin Jiufeng.
He was furious.
He roared incessantly and cursed. He was angry, but it was useless. Lin Jiufeng ignored him and quietly built his small courtyard. Using his true qi, he terraformed the ground and erected a few courtyard walls. Then, he cut some wood and built a small house. Under the cover of the night, Lin Jiufeng stayed inside and laid quietly on the wooden bed with the white cat. In the sky of the Northwest Territory, the starry sky was filled with resplendent stars and nebulas. The scene was beautiful, to say the least. Lin Jiufeng and the white cat laid on the bed. Through the window, they looked at the river of stars. The white cat moved her body and said, "I feel like I've returned to that time we spent in the cold palace." At that time, there were only two of them in the cold palace. Their life was quiet and ordinary. They lived a simple life back then. The white cat liked this kind of life. Lin Jiufeng reached out his hand to stroke her. With a faint smile, he said, "I miss that period of time too." Hence, Lin Jiufeng chose to stay in the Northwest Territory for a period of time. As for the matters outside, he temporarily didn't want to think about them. The Unrivalled God Dynasty has many powerhouses at its disposal, so it could definitely protect itself. Lin Jiufeng only had to stay before the entrance of the Mountain Sea realm and prevent the people inside from coming out. This way, the balance of this world wouldn't be broken. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Tonight in the ancient city of the Oasis, Bai Tiandi and Old Man Luo were each in their own courtyards. They were looking at the sky as they fell into a state of enlightenment. They remained quiet in their courtyards. Outside the ancient city, in a newly built courtyard near the door of the Mountain Sea realm, Lin Jiufeng and the white cat fell into a deep sleep. The next day arrived. Lin Jiufeng woke up early in the morning. He was woken up by the wind, rain, and thunder. Rain poured down like there was a waterfall in the sky. The downpour was heavy. Lin Jiufeng stood quietly under the eaves and calmly observed the world. Beside him was the white cat. She sat quietly and listened to the rain outside with Lin Jiufeng. It was raining, so Lin Jiufeng didn't want to go out. He stood under the eaves and pointed. The mountain sea seal slowly opened. Rumble. The sound of thunder and rain reverberated at once along with the creaking of the door. The sound could send chills down the spines of anyone. Amidst these sounds was a terrifying aura that was soon followed by a roar. "Who dares to seal my path out?" It was a furious roar. In the ancient city of the Oasis, Old Man Luo heard the voice and chuckled. "It's King Kaoshan. It seems that he has come to this oasis too." When Bai Tiandi heard this, he directly chose to ignore what was about to happen. If it was yesterday, he would have thought that King Kaoshan could defeat Lin Jiufeng. But now, he felt that King Kaoshan had no chance against him at all. Lin Jiufeng, who was watching the rain and listening to the wind, didn't move at all. He only used his fingers as a sword. Infusing his true chi in his will, he slashed across, all the way from his small courtyard to the Mountain Sea realm's door. Clang! The move broke through the rain and the sound barrier. A violent wind manifested in its wake. King Kaoshan has just emerged from the Mountain Sea realm. Facing Lin Jiufeng's sword attack, he was immediately angered by the boldness of the attacker. In response, he condensed a huge mountain with his power and hugged it as he directly charged over to Lin Jiufeng. He wanted to defeat Lin Jiufeng with sheer strength. Boom! But in the very next moment, an explosion reverberated. The mountain in King Kaoshan's arms exploded, it scattered like pebbles all over the ground. The scene was unbelievable. A sword move made with a finger was able to destroy a huge mountain that easily? But before King Kaoshan could even think, the sword energy finally arrived in front of him. The sword energy looked beautiful as it flickered. But it was not to be admired, as it made his hair stand on its ends. His pupils shrank, and his mouth became dry. "What the?" King Kaoshan muttered in shock. But the sword energy didn't kill him. Instead, it dissipated before it could penetrate his body. "King Kaoshan, come here. We are currently living here. You don't want to return to the Mountain Sea realm, right? Or do you want to?" Old Man Luo shouted. King Kaoshan had a blank look on his face. He didn't know what has just happened, but after hearing Old Man Luo's voice, he walked to the ancient city in the oasis after a moment of hesitation. "Old Man Luo, Bai Tiandi. You too, why are both of you here?" King Kaoshan asked quizzically. "Just like you, we were defeated. We can only move around in this place, we can't go anywhere else." Old Man Luo smiled helplessly. That move just now, King Kaoshan was still in shock.
Did you feel that you were about to die? Old Man Luo chuckled. Yes. Thankfully, he didn't want me dead.
If he wanted, I would already be dead by now, King Kaoshan replied bitterly.
Choose a room in this ancient city and live in peace.
I will tell you more about our situation here later, Old Man Luo said.
Okay. King Kaoshan nodded.
Seeing that King Kaoshan has been persuaded by Old Man Luo to stay, Lin Jiufeng retracted his gaze and continued to seal the Mountain Sea realm. He saw a line of words in front of him.
Defeated King Kaoshan, sign in for a king pill. Lin Jiufeng checked the information on the king pill.
It was a pill that could increase the potential and comprehension of a king realm cultivator. After consuming it, one would enter a period of rapid improvement.
To Lin Jiufeng, it was an excellent pill.
It just so happened that he needed to enter a stage of rapid improvement. After consuming the pill, Lin Jiufeng felt the world in front of him changed. Rain, wind, and thunder all had their own trajectories in front of his eyes. The great Tao was often stumbled upon by accident. It could not be directly observed. It was fleeting. Lin Jiufeng didn't have a pair of eyes that could look at the great Tao in the past. But today, the king pill gave him such eyes. In the heavy rain, he made a breakthrough while looking at the rain. Without a sound, his strength at the king realm advanced by leaps and bounds. No one detected his improvement in strength.
The white cat didn't even notice his advancement.
She only stood there watching the rain with Lin Jiufeng and watched the ground getting wet. But she didn't know that in this rain, Lin Jiufeng was reborn. The downpour was heavy.
It also lasted a long time. 10 days and 10 nights.
After the long-forgotten drought in the Northwest Territory was watered by this huge rainwater, the distant mountains started to grow a few green spots. The lake that disappeared because of the appearance of the mountain sea door had also returned.
The original lake disappeared. It was replaced by a huge pit. A bottomless pit.
But the heavy rain filled the pit and restored the calm lake, nurturing the oasis.
The only difference was that an additional mountain sea door was standing above the lake.
Every day, Lin Jiufeng would defeat a person who walked out of the mountain sea door. Each time, he only had to make one move to defeat his opponent. There was definitely no need for him to make a second move. Old Man Luo and the others trembled in fear upon seeing the depth of Lin Jiufeng's might. After 10 days, there were 10 more residents in the ancient city of the oasis. Including the previous 3, there were already 13 people living in the ancient city. These 13 people were all powerful powerhouses in the Mountain Sea realm, but they remained obedient like children in front of Lin Jiufeng.
After the heavy rain ended, the ancient city's residents had a meeting.
The 13 people were all present. They looked at each other without saying anything. When he defeated me, he was only at the peak of the boundless realm.
Bai Tiandi broke the ice and said bitterly.
When he defeated me yesterday, his cultivation base was already at the 5th level of the king realm. A woman said bitterly.
The key is that this isn't his peak yet. He could still defeat me so easily despite his low cultivation base. The woman sighed.
In just 10 days, his cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. Old Man Luo was shocked.
Fortunately, he has no heart to kill indiscriminately. Otherwise, we would have been dead by now. King Kaoshan smiled bitterly.
This was the only silver lining that he could find in their situation.
Chapter 203, Do you all want to rebel?
The 13 of them gathered together and discussed the recent changes in the ancient city. Originally, when they saw the open door of the Mountain Sea realm, they were all extremely excited and wanted to rush out in a hurry. But who knew that there was an obstacle called Lin Jiufeng waiting for them just right outside the door?
The Mountain Sea door's opening is too slow.
It's a pity that those 2 strong can't come out just yet, or else everything would definitely be very interesting. Old Man Luo was regretful.
The Mountain Sea door was still considered to be closed.
Before it could fully open, those with too high of a cultivation base wouldn't be able to cross over from beyond the door.
Only those at the king realm could currently come out. I'm also curious if he can suppress someone whose cultivation is beyond the king realm. Bai Tiandi rubbed his chin. Look! Another person has appeared. Someone suddenly reached out and pointed. The seal on the mountain sea door was lifted, and a person walked out from the inside. The cultivation base of this person far exceeded everyone present. He was at the 6th level of the king realm. His appearance delighted everyone. It's the Blade Demon. Comprehending the great Tao with the blade, transcending tribulation through slaughter, he is a terrifying existence. Old Man Luo exclaimed in surprise. The others watched curiously. He won't be able to defeat the Blade Demon, right? King Kaoshan murmured with hope. But in the very next moment, Lin Jiufeng, who was tilling the land of his vegetable garden in front of his small courtyard, raised his head. See rising bright moon. On the lake that was once again filled with water, a moon suddenly rose. Such a scene appearing amidst the clear skies and the resplendent sun looked out of place. But as the moon appeared, it carried the power of the sea as it bore down on the Blade Demon. Sky-slashing blade. The Blade Demon let loose a sharp cry, and his voice reverberated through the air. The sharp edge of his blade tore through the air as he delivered an extremely terrifying strike. But against Lin Jiufeng's rising sea bright moon, his blade became akin to that of a rock thrown into the sea. The bright moon collided with the Blade Demon, causing him to vomit blood. He staggered and fell into the oasis. Then the sea, the moon, the breeze, and the effects of these phenomena disappeared. The world became clear once again. The mountain sea door was also sealed once more. The sparkling crystal clear water remained beautiful in the eyes. The Blade Demon looked around in confusion, not knowing what just happened. Who defeated him? He didn't even see who defeated him. Blade Demon, come over here. Let's live in harmony here in the future. Old Man Luo shouted. His face was filled with disappointment. The joy on the faces of the other 12 people also disappeared. Even the always confident Bai Tiandi stopped talking. He didn't even appear in person. He only summoned his domain's phenomenon. After it erupted, Blade Demon was defeated. King Kaoshan gasped. He's too strong. He's stronger than we thought. Don't tell me that he's already standing at the peak of the king realm? A woman said. Who exactly is he? A freak. He's even more of a freak than Bai Tiandi. Bai Tiandi, you have to keep a low profile in the future. Before him, you are not worth mentioning. Old Man Luo commented. Humph, Bai Tiandi stood up and turned to leave. He clenched his fists and swore to work even harder to become stronger. Bai Tiandi was a confident and prideful individual. He wasn't willing to be suppressed by Lin Jiufeng forever. After Bai Tiandi left, the others also left one after another and returned to their own residences. Knowing how powerful Lin Jiufeng was, they had no mood to continue their discussion. It was better for them to start to comprehend the heavenly Tao of this world so that they could continue to become stronger. Only Old Man Luo went to receive the Blade Demon. He was like the village chief of a novice village. He seemed to have taken it as his job to receive people who came one after another. Outside the ancient city of the oasis, Lin Jiufeng retracted his gaze and continued to till the land of his vegetable garden. Afterwards, he planted some vegetables and raised a few chickens and ducks. He became a farmer and lived a quiet life. He would defeat a person every day and then sign in. After defeating the Blade Demon, a line of words appeared before his eyes. Defeated the Blade Demon and sign in for the 18 slashes of purgatory. This was a treasured skill-level blade technique. Considering its classification, its might must never be underestimated. But to Lin Jiufeng, it was only better than nothing. After learning the blade technique, his cultivation base slightly increased and his pool of treasured skills went up along with it. Other than that, he didn't gain anything else. The Northwest Territory was originally extremely dry, with yellow soil flying everywhere. But after the mountain sea door was opened, the spiritual energy in the world became abundant, the rainwater also increased, and the vegetation started to spread. Lin Jiufeng stayed here and became a farmer in peace. He didn't go anywhere. He let one person out every day and then neatly defeated them. After signing in successfully, he no longer cared about them.
Naturally, Old Man Luo warmly welcomed these guests for Lin Jiufeng. He explained the rules here to them, explained Lin Jiufeng's rules to them, and then let them stay here in peace. If they wanted to leave, they just had to defeat Lin Jiufeng.
Days passed. It has been a month since Lin Jiufeng opened the mountain sea door. The ancient city had become more populous. There were already 30 people diligently cultivating within its confines every day. But all of a sudden, a person who had just been defeated by Lin Jiufeng suggested. That person is truly powerful. Sure, we can't defeat him alone, but we already have 30 people here. If we join forces, we should be able to defeat him.
That's right. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. No matter how powerful he is, we should be able to overwhelm his invincibility with our numbers, am I right?
Everyone, let's attack him together. After we've defeated him, we can then take a look at the prosperous world outside. We don't have to stay in this godforsaken oasis anymore.
His suggestion received the agreement of many people.
Everyone immediately became excited. But Bai Tiandi spoke up.
If I want to leave, I will defeat him myself.
The future celestial emperor will not participate in your plan.
Bai Tiandi had his own pride. He wouldn't join forces with these people to collectively attack Lin Jiufeng.
But other than Bai Tiandi, everyone else wanted to join forces and give it a try. Then it's decided. Let's attack together and take him down.
The person who made the suggestion became excited as if he could already see Lin Jiufeng's death.
But then, do you lot want to rebel?
A cold and oppressive voice shook the surroundings.
The sky instantly darkened.
The world turned monochrome as the roar of the sea resounded in their ears.
Immediately afterwards, a bright moon rose. Dong dong dong.
The light that rose from the moon illuminated the surroundings and covered everyone's bodies, causing their bodies to become heavy as their knees folded beneath them, forcing them to kneel on the ground.
No one could withstand the pressure. The pressure was so overwhelming it seemed to be out of this world.
They wished that they could do something to relieve the pressure, but they could only watch in horror.
Only Bai Tiandi remained unaffected.
He stood aside and watched in shock. The roar of the sea and the might of the moon made it obvious who it was.
He became stronger again. Bai Tiandi clenched his fists, shocked.
This was too terrifying.
Lin Jiufeng's improvement speed was more than 10 times faster than his. Or even 100 times? Rumble.
The pressure of the sea bore down on the 29 people, causing them to vomit blood. They were drenched in sweat as they laid on the ground, no longer kneeling.
Sir, I was wrong. Please spare us.
Old Man Luo shouted in horror.
Sir, I was wrong. Please forgive me.
The others also shouted.
No one could endure such pressure. No one dared to provoke Lin Jiufeng anymore. If there's a next time, there will be death. Lin Jiufeng's cold voice sounded.
Then, the bright moon and the sea disappeared altogether.
The world became bright once again as if everything that happened just now never happened.
But Old Man Luo saw with his own eyes that the person who proposed to attack Lin Jiufeng together had died.
Even his divine soul was annihilated by Lin Jiufeng.
Old Man Luo was so scared that his pants became wet. If he hadn't begged for mercy just now, Lin Jiufeng truly would have killed them all.
Not just the one who suggested the idea.
Chapter 204, 2 months outside the ancient city, at the door of a small courtyard. Lin Jiufeng had built a rocking chair for himself. He sat on it and looked at the vegetable garden and the chicken coop that he had built not far away. His mood instantly became better. It was as if he wasn't the one who killed in fury just now.
Earlier, his god's domain spread and directly suppressed the 30 king realm cultivators in the ancient city. Lin Jiufeng's true body didn't have to appear in the midst.
Their lives and deaths were already in his hands. This was the current Lin Jiufeng.
He was powerful. Why were you angry just now? The white cat asked curiously.
Because some people had overestimated themselves, Lin Jiufeng replied.
What about now? The white cat asked. It's settled. Our life here should remain peaceful for a while. I will just be a farmer, raising chickens and ducks, planting some vegetables, and when I'm hungry, I will make some food for myself. No one will disturb me, and I will quietly stand guard before this mountain sea door. Lin Jiufeng wore a smile. I feel like I'm about to make a breakthrough, the white cat suddenly said. Lin Jiufeng asked in surprise, didn't you just make a breakthrough into the supremacy realm? The white cat's cultivation was very difficult. She had to rely on a large number of resources to reach her current realm. Of course, she also had her own strange parts. She seemed to have an extraordinary background. But Lin Jiufeng refused to believe that it was the case. The white cat was dull, clingy, and her cultivation was slow. He even had to guide her slowly in her cultivation. If her origins were extraordinary and her bloodline was powerful, then she would simply be letting down her bloodline. Of course, he couldn't possibly say these words to the white cat. She would definitely be angry if he did so. Once she got angry, she would ignore Lin Jiufeng. Then, Lin Jiufeng would have no cat to pet anymore. Lin Jiufeng was already used to having the white cat by his side. It has been decades since they accompanied each other. Lin Jiufeng couldn't imagine his life without the white cat. The white cat mumbled, I don't know either. Anyway, I'm about to make a breakthrough just by absorbing spiritual energy. Perhaps it's because you opened the mountain sea realm and I absorbed too much spiritual energy from that realm? In any case, I'm already at the peak of the supremacy realm, the white cat said. I see. Then, tell me when you'll make your breakthrough. I will help you keep an eye out, Lin Jiufeng said seriously. I understand, but there should still be some time before I can do it, the white cat replied sweetly. Lin Jiufeng hugged her and opened the seal of the mountain sea door. Someone immediately wanted to rush out. Then, Lin Jiufeng immediately struck out with a sword move. Afterwards, Old Man Luo walked over to comfort the defeated cultivator. He brought him to the ancient city in the oasis. A line of words appeared in front of Lin Jiufeng's eyes. Defeated Luo Jiashan and sign in for a 10,000-year-old ginseng. Tonight, Lin Jiufeng caught one of the few old hens in his chicken coop and stewed it with the 10,000-year-old ginseng. Then he shared it with the white cat. After the meal, the man and the cat laid on the bed. They looked at the stars while digesting the huge amount of spiritual energy from the ginseng. Days continuously passed in the same peaceful manner. It has been 2 months since the appearance of the mountain sea door. In the past 2 months, the originally empty ancient city now had an additional 60 people as its citizens. They were all King Realm cultivators. The person who was defeated by Lin Jiufeng on the latest day was already at the 9th level of the King Realm, but he was still defeated by a single punch from Lin Jiufeng. He didn't even manage to see Lin Jiufeng's figure. After 2 months, the vegetables that Lin Jiufeng planted grew really well. There were also a few chickens, ducks, and even fishes. He would make a meal every few days. It could be considered a habit that he had developed during these peaceful days. Over the past 2 months, Lin Jiufeng's life remained simple and fulfilling. On this day, Lin Jiufeng was fishing at the edge of the lake. Ever since I left the cold palace, my progress came to a halt. But now that I'm here, I've finally recovered the feeling I once felt. Lin Jiufeng looked at the sparkling lake surface and pondered with a calm expression. These days were great for him. His daily routine of signing in quietly and becoming stronger in peace was now being realized once again here in the Northwest Territory. Lin Jiufeng could endure loneliness. As long as he could become stronger, it wouldn't be a problem even if he continued to live here quietly for another 80 years. Shuash! Lin Jiufeng felt the fishing rod tremble. He decisively raised it, and the fishing line flew up. A fish the size of an arm broke out from the surface. Under the sunlight, it flickered with a crystal-like luster. Little cat, put the fish away. Let's have an all-fish banquet tonight, Lin Jiufeng said with a smile. Meow. The white cat flew up and hurriedly took the fish off the fishing rod and placed it in a wooden bucket. She also liked to eat fish. Lin Jiufeng was just about to hang the bait and put the fishing rod down. But he suddenly remembered that he still hadn't signed in today. Rumble.
Lin Jiufeng directly opened the seal of the mountain sea door and saw a person come out. It was another cultivator at the 9th level of the King Realm. When the cultivators in the ancient city saw the newly emerged cultivator, they sighed in unison. They were hoping that someone beyond the King Realm would appear. Because 9th level King Realm cultivators weren't even worth mentioning for Lin Jiufeng. Lin Jiufeng didn't say anything to the newcomer. He used his finger like a sword and lightly tapped the air. Then, without looking at the result, he continued fishing. And with the tap of his finger, it was as if everything in the world, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the tide of spiritual energy had all transformed into a sword that could split the mountains and seas. It rushed over and bore down on the newcomer. Pooh! The 9th level King Realm cultivator instantly spat out blood upon being struck. He was greatly shocked. He couldn't resist at all, as if they were people from two different worlds. When Lin Jiufeng pointed out with his finger and slashed with it as if it was his sword, the sun, moon, mountains and the seas were all captivated by his move. How could he possibly withstand such an attack? In the ancient city, old man Luo sighed helplessly and walked out. He had now become the receptionist of the ancient city. He received and welcomed a cultivator from the mountain sea realm every day. Take a look at how huge the opening of the mountain sea door is right now. It should be able to accommodate someone with a cultivation base higher than the King Realm. Someone pointed out in anticipation. The realm after the King Realm was the Spirit Platform Realm. The Spirit Platform Realm involved the divine soul. It was different from the true chi and the physical body. Any matter involving the divine soul was extremely dangerous. If one was careless, their divine soul could be irrevocably damaged. A cultivator at the Spirit Platform Realm was undoubtedly several-fold stronger than one at the King Realm. But can a Spirit Platform Realm cultivator be able to defeat that man? King Kaoshan was doubtful. He no longer had the confidence that Lin Jiufeng could be defeated after seeing him defeat a King Realm cultivator every day. Lin Jiufeng's mysterious might had formed a deep knot in their hearts. To this day, these people didn't talk much to Lin Jiufeng. Lin Jiufeng lived outside the city, while they lived inside, they didn't communicate with each other at all. In fact, they didn't even know Lin Jiufeng's name. They referred to Lin Jiufeng as that man. Let's see if someone at the Spirit Platform Realm can defeat him. Otherwise, we will really have to stay here for a long time. In my opinion, it's fine if we stay here. Although that man is restricting our freedom, we can still comprehend the great Tao of this world here. But birds that want to fly cannot be trapped forever. The others nodded silently. They wanted to leave and take a look at the outside world. At the same time, they wanted to develop their own forces and become heroes and lords of this world. Only by seizing the initiative could they gain the advantage. But now, Lin Jiufeng was a huge mountain that was blocking their way to success. Chapter 205, The Arrival of the Fire Lord. Defeat a person from the Mountain Sea Realm every day to sign in. Afterwards, he would contain them all in this oasis and prevent them from disturbing this world. Such a peaceful life was very comfortable and ideal for Lin Jiufeng. He could continue to become stronger. The improvement he experienced in these 2 months was simply too good for him. He was planning on quietly accumulating his strength, so he could thoroughly astonish the world in the future. This was the bulk of Lin Jiufeng's plan. The White Cat had been working very hard recently. In order to make a breakthrough and enter the Boundless Realm, she followed behind Lin Jiufeng every day and spent most of her time cultivating. Her cultivation speed was so slow at the beginning, but now she was improving at a rapid pace. The changes she experienced during this period of time gave Lin Jiufeng a huge surprise. For some reason, Lin Jiufeng suddenly remembered a sentence that the White Cat said back then. She would be gorgeous and beautiful in her human form. Today, Lin Jiufeng woke up early in the morning. He washed up briefly and went to open the seal of the Mountain Sea Realm to release a powerhouse from inside. Boom! But the person who came out today was different from before. His aura was like a huge sun that seemed to threaten to evaporate every liquid around him. His aura was scalding hot, the type where it could probably boil an entire ocean into vapor. He was like the blazing sun at noon. As he stepped out of the Mountain Sea Realm,
a huge phenomenon appeared behind him. Lin Jiufeng narrowed his eyes to take a look. The newcomer was indeed very powerful. The huge phenomenon behind him didn't come from some other place. It came from his divine soul. He had turned his divine soul into his very own son. A spirit platform realm cultivator. Lin Jiufeng said softly. The brilliant appearance of this cultivator attracted everyone's attention in the oasis. In the oasis, 60 people watched in anticipation. Would Lin Jiufeng be able to defeat this person? It's the Fire Lord. Yes, it's the Fire Lord. He has only cultivated for more than 100 years, but he has already reached the spirit platform realm. He's a genius second only to Bai Tiandi. The key is that he refined his divine soul into a sun. His sun is too hot for any living being, it's simply unbearable to be under it. This should be enough to defeat that man, right? I don't know, but at the very least, he should be evenly matched with that man. Everyone in the ancient city of the oasis had high expectations. They were at the king realm, so they were powerless against Lin Jiufeng at this moment. They were easily defeated by Lin Jiufeng. If Lin Jiufeng could even defeat a spirit platform realm cultivator, that would mean that escape was impossible for them in the meantime. The eyes of the Fire Lord who had descended to this world were burning. He was excited as he looked at this vast world. Then he took a deep breath. The great Tao of this world is indeed complete. I want to establish a fire sect in this world. I will unite the world and rebuild the Fire Nation. This world is about to welcome a brand new ruler in its midst. The Fire Lord said excitedly as he strode out. He wanted to realize his dream and seize the advantage of being the early worm. But in the very next moment, a voice sounded behind him. You can't go anywhere just yet, Lin Jiufeng said calmly. Fire Lord turned around and saw Lin Jiufeng. The flames in his eyes burned fiercely. I didn't expect that there would be a spirit platform realm powerhouse in this world with such poor spiritual energy. You're not a simple individual, aren't you? Why don't you follow me and be my second in command? Fire Lord chuckled and tried to recruit Lin Jiufeng. I think it's better for you to stay in this oasis without going anywhere for now. Lin Jiufeng retorted. Fire Lord's face turned cold, but the temperature around him rose. He was like a furnace that was about to explode, a violent and dangerous furnace. Are you telling me what to do? Fire Lord laughed in anger. Wow, you have a fiery temper. It seems that you won't listen to me without a beatdown. Lin Jiufeng shook his head. A beatdown? Fire Lord laughed. He became so angry that he laughed. If you were in the middle and late stages of the spirit platform realm today, I would think highly of you. But you are just a kid who has just entered the spirit platform realm, and you dare to say that you give me a beatdown? Fire Lord shouted coldly. No. Every cultivator's mileage vastly varies from each other. 2 months ago, I'm a boundless realm cultivator that had just made a breakthrough into the king realm. Half a month ago, I made a breakthrough from the king realm into the spirit platform realm. Now after another half a month, how strong do you think I am? Lin Jiufeng asked with a rather serious look. Shameless boasting. Do you think that I will believe your nonsense? Fire Lord sneered at Lin Jiufeng's words. What bullshit tea about breaking through 2 realms in 2 months? It was simply nonsense. Even those ancient sages wouldn't be able to do such a thing. But Lin Jiufeng's words were incomparably real in the eyes of the people in the ancient city. Because they watched as Lin Jiufeng advanced step by step. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe it either. Whether you believe it or not, I don't have to prove anything to you. After entering the spirit platform realm, the first thing I did was to stabilize my divine soul, Lin Jiufeng said slowly. I stabilized my divine soul on my own, then after being tempered 1,000 times, the sword energies in my entire body were integrated into my divine soul. Receive 1 strike from me. If you can resist it, you can leave, but if you can't, you shall stay in this oasis. Lin Jiufeng got to the point. As soon as his words fell, a tiny figure appeared between his glabella.
Lin Jiufeng's divine soul was a smaller version of him. His divine soul held a sword in one hand and pointed it at the Fire Lord. The aura that the tiny Lin Jiufeng exuded was nothing short of extraordinary. In the blink of an eye, the divine soul figure raised the sword and charged forward. The ordinary-looking tiny figure carried the ordinary-looking sword and rushed towards the sun-like divine soul just like that. Rumble! The blazing sun divine soul was enraged. Fire Lord directly poured out his anger that was akin to an exploding volcano. The ferocity of his fury was extremely terrifying. He wanted to directly burn Lin Jiufeng's divine soul into ashes. But Lin Jiufeng's divine soul also had a trick up its sleeve. It decisively charged out. Despite its ordinary appearance, it carried the sharpness of the entire sword path. As it approached, its might decisively erupted. At this moment, the tiny divine soul slashed out with its sword. The sword energy exploded for 30,000 miles, and the entire mountain sea realm vibrated as the sword energy wreaked havoc in the world. Boom! The sword energy that was 30,000 miles long penetrated the sun, suppressed the volcano and suffocated the flames. All of this happened in an instant. Before Fire Lord could even display his might, he was already covered by the surging sword energy. The sword energy pierced through his body. Fortunately, Lin Jiufeng didn't want to kill him. Otherwise, he would already be dead. The 30,000 miles of sword energy suppressed everything in the world. In the ancient city, everyone fell into a daze. The always confident Bai Tiandi murmured, "I still have to work even harder to catch up. Wait for me. My breakthrough into the spirit platform realm is nigh." Although he wouldn't be able to defeat Lin Jiufeng even after he entered the spirit platform realm. It didn't matter. At least they were at the same realm. King Kaoshan began to think and said, "Should I imitate that man and cultivate my own Dao with a chicken coop and a farm? Sigh. I should renovate my own courtyard as well. It seems that I'll be staying here for quite a long time." Old man Luo shook his head and sighed. They were all in despair. They began to think about how to live their lives well in the future. As for Fire Lord, he just stood there in a daze, unable to speak a word. But his heart was feeling pain. How painful! Lin Jiufeng walked away. Choose a house in the ancient city in this oasis and live a quiet life. Don't think of going out to unify the world. This world is also becoming tired of the antics of people like you. Today you want to rule the world, then tomorrow another person will want to rule the world too? How annoying. Chapter 206, Peaceful Times. Defeating Fire Lord wasn't a big problem for Lin Jiufeng. He improved so fast in the past 2 months that he didn't even know just how strong he was at this moment. Perhaps this surprising rate of improvement was because he had opened the mountain sea realm. The hidden world that remained sealed for over 15,000 years simply gave Lin Jiufeng too many surprises. Not many knew about the oasis deep in the barren lands of the Northwest Territory. On top of that, there was a thriving ancient city above this oasis. Furthermore, the top powerhouses of this brand new era were currently living in this ancient city. Each one of them could easily tip the balance of this world once they managed to emerge into the world and made themselves known. But today? These experts were currently living in peace as the citizens of the oasis's ancient city. Outside the ancient city, Lin Jiufeng's courtyard was now bigger than ever. He also expanded his vegetable garden. In fact, he now had his own orchard and various farm animals to boot. He was like a retired old person. After defeating Fire Lord, he picked up his fishing rod and continued to fish. The people in the ancient city only knew that Lin Jiufeng was fishing, but they had no idea about the line of words that appeared before Lin Jiufeng's eyes. Defeated Fire Lord and sign in for the Divine Soul Fusang Tree. The Divine Soul Fusang Tree was an immortal great item. Lin Jiufeng sat by the lake, holding the fishing rod. His eyes were closed and his mind was completely focused on the Fusang Tree. The Divine Soul Fusang Tree wasn't an ordinary tree. It didn't grow in the soil, but mainly in the divine soul of cultivators. The reason why Fire Lord was so powerful was that the shadow of the Fusang Tree existed in his divine soul. On the Fusang Tree sat a 3-legged golden crow. In ancient legends, the three-legged golden crow was the sun itself. Hence, after Fire Lord obtained the shadow of the Fusang tree, he captured the traces of the three-legged golden crow's essence. Thus, he was able to refine his divine soul into a sun. Lin Jiufeng defeated him and signed in for the complete divine soul Fusang tree. When Lin Jiufeng realized this, he was overjoyed.
Not bad.
I received something that I can use for a long time, Lin Jiufeng said in satisfaction. Most of the signed-in items, regardless of whether they were cultivation techniques or treasured skills, would only be used for a short period of time. As his cultivation base became stronger, the techniques and treasured skills he learned would eventually become obsolete. Only a small number of items similar to God's domain, the two great domain phenomena, and the void sword case could be used for a long time.
As his cultivation base increased, the God's domains might always follow suit.
As for the two phenomena, the higher one's cultivation base was, the more terrifying they would be. For the void sword case, without it, Lin Jiufeng's treasured swords that were currently in the case would have long been obsolete. In his arsenal, Lin Jiufeng now has an additional divine soul Fusang tree that he could use for a long time.
I'm at the spirit platform realm now.
The most important thing that must be done in this realm is the cultivation of my divine soul.
With this divine soul Fusang tree, my divine soul can easily become strong. Lin Jiufeng was happy.
He decisively fused the divine soul Fusang tree into his divine soul.
Rumble. Lin Jiufeng's body and divine soul underwent an earth-shattering change. To the people of the ancient city in the oasis, Lin Jiufeng was just sitting by the lake, motionless like a stone.
But only Lin Jiufeng himself knew what kind of great change had occurred to his body. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the world inside his body had changed. His divine soul became the Fusang tree. His divine soul world became a vast and boundless sea where the Fusang tree could be seen in the middle of it. The space inside his divine soul expanded many times. As its slow expansion continued, Lin Jiufeng's strength and realm would also continuously increase. He sat by the lake for 3 days.
In the past 3 days, Lin Jiufeng didn't move at all.
But he still continued to sign in without moving. He would open the seal of the mountain sea door on time, then a wisp of his divine soul's might would burst out from his glabella.
Yes, a wisp. Every time Lin Jiufeng needed to sign in,
he would only release a wisp of his divine soul's might. It might be a wisp, but it was strong enough to defeat a spirit platform realm cultivator emerging from the mountain sea realm.
Those cultivators didn't even know what happened before they were defeated by Lin Jiufeng. Then, Old Man Luo took them to the oasis.
3 days later, after Lin Jiufeng successfully fused with the divine soul Fusang tree, his divine soul and cultivation base greatly improved.
But to be honest, Lin Jiufeng was more concerned about his future improvement.
After all, he knew that the higher a cultivator's cultivation base was, the harder it would be for them to make future breakthroughs. With the divine soul Fusang tree, Lin Jiufeng's divine soul was now protected. A peerless expert was now unable to instantly kill Lin Jiufeng by virtue of annihilating the latter's divine soul in his body. Lin Jiufeng stretched his body and exclaimed in satisfaction.
This is such a comfortable way of life. Defeating a cultivator every day brought him surprises every day.
Lin Jiufeng picked up the fishing rod. After 3 days, he had long ran out of bait, so he stopped fishing. He patted his butt clean and got up to leave.
Little white cat, where are you? Lin Jiufeng shouted.
After not seeing the white cat for 3 days, he was starting to miss her presence. I'm making a breakthrough in seclusion, the white cat replied. Lin Jiufeng returned to the small courtyard and saw that she was curled up on the bed. Spiritual energy surged in her body in a kaleidoscope of colors: blood red, milky white, resplendent golden, and dazzling green. The scene was colorful but constantly changing. The white cat closed her eyes and breathed heavily. The spiritual energy in the air surged into her tiny pink nose. Lin Jiufeng walked over and placed his hand on the white cat's body to check her condition.
Rumble.
In Lin Jiufeng's perception, the white cat's body was like a vast and unfathomable, boundless sea.
Fortunately, she could control this raging sea. Thus, there wouldn't be any problems.
Lin Jiufeng released his grip and looked at the white cat suspiciously.
I can't even probe the depths of your power anymore. Does this mean that your bloodline is truly extraordinary? Lin Jiufeng asked in surprise. The change in the white cat exceeded Lin Jiufeng's imagination. After taking a closer look and confirming that the white cat was fine, Lin Jiufeng was finally able to relax and he let her make a quiet breakthrough. But most of his attention was still on the white cat. Don't worry and focus on breaking through. I will keep guard for you, Lin Jiufeng said. Thank you, the white cat replied weakly. She didn't even open her eyes. She only answered because it was Lin Jiufeng talking to her. If not, she would have ignored the voice. Lin Jiufeng left the house and closed the door. Under the afterglow of the setting sun, he sat on the rocking chair at the door and closed his eyes to enjoy the evening breeze. These days so far have been idyllic. In the ancient city, the cultivators who were now the new citizens of the oasis had already given up against Lin Jiufeng. It was understandable, however, after they saw Lin Jiufeng's freakish performance in the past 3 days. Even Fire Lord, who was defeated by Lin Jiufeng 3 days ago, had temporarily extinguished the fire in his heart. He became indifferent as he searched for a piece of land and learned from Lin Jiufeng. He began to grow vegetables and fruits. A wisp of his divine soul to defeat a spirit platform realm cultivator. What the heck? There was a person who wanted to join forces with everyone to gang up against Lin Jiufeng. But he didn't expect that after making such a suggestion, everyone would outright ignore him. To be honest, after witnessing Lin Jiufeng's terrifying capabilities, they weren't confident that even their collective strength could defeat the former at all. In addition, after the previously failed alliance, no one dared to execute something similar again. Just like that, the current top powerhouses in this brand new era, the cultivators that could easily tip the balance of this world, were all holed up in the ancient city of the Northwest Territories oasis. They became like citizens, the oasis's citizens. They spent their days idling about, tilling the land, planting vegetables, and cultivating. Then once they were done with their routines, they would walk around to modify the buildings in the ancient city according to their likings. Under Lin Jiufeng's leadership, the ancient city that was once the home of outlaws was now filled with law-abiding citizens that wanted nothing but peace and stability. Chapter 207, Becoming Mortal. The ancient city in the one and only oasis throughout the entire Northwest Territory had already become the retirement home of the powerhouses from the Mountain Sea realm. Each and every cultivator inside was easily stronger than any top powerhouse in the outside world. The strongest experts outside this oasis were only at the Boundless Realm. Perhaps they were at the 29th or 30th step of the Boundless Realm. But none of them were at the King Realm at the moment. 2 months simply just wasn't enough time for the effects of the hastening recovery rate of the world's spiritual energy to become evident in the outside world. As for the people of Oasis Town, the weakest among them was at the King Realm. Moreover, their rate of improvement was also very fast. Thanks to the abundant spiritual energy from the Mountain Sea realm and the complete great Tao of this so-called main world, their rate of improvement was astounding, to say the least. For example, the extremely confident Bai Tiandi. In these 2 months, he reached the spirit platform realm. His extreme confidence was built on top of his diligence and peerless talent. Not wanting to be surpassed too much by Lin Jiufeng, he worked hard at every moment. Finally, he managed to make a breakthrough into the spirit platform realm last night. But even so, the next morning, he still obediently went to Old Man Luo's breakfast shop for some quick breakfast. After seeing how powerful Lin Jiufeng was these days, Old Man Luo had already given up any thoughts of resistance. In any case, apart from cultivating and trying to comprehend the great Tao every day, he had nothing else to do. Therefore, he picked up his old trade. Breakfast shop. After few days of preparation, Old Man Luo informed everyone that his breakfast shop was about to open. He hoped that everyone would come and support him. Of course, he also informed Lin Jiufeng. In the morning, Lin Jiufeng woke up and walked into the oasis after 2 months of absence. The ancient city in the oasis wasn't small. Less than 100 people lived, called it home, making it look empty. Old Man Luo's breakfast shop was located at the city gates. As soon as Lin Jiufeng walked in, everyone's eyes turned to him. There was hatred, jealousy, and helplessness in their eyes. A mixture of complicated emotions. Lin Jiufeng ignored them. He walked directly to Old Man Luo's shop. There was an empty table and he sat there quietly. "Sir, what do you want to eat?" Old Man Luo walked over. He was wearing the clothes of a chef, stained with flour. He asked with a smile on his face. "Just give me what you are good at," Lin Jiufeng replied. "Okay, please wait a moment." Old Man Luo slipped away to prepare. Not long after, a bowl of noodles, 2 buns, and fried dough sticks were served. "Sir, please enjoy," Old Man Luo said. Lin Jiufeng calmly picked up his chopsticks and leisurely ate. "It's good. I didn't expect you to have such good cooking skills." Lin Jiufeng was surprised as he ate the noodles. Yes. Before I started cultivating, my father made breakfast for decades and raised my siblings and me through this trade. Naturally, my cooking skills were inherited from him. Unfortunately, after I stepped onto the path of cultivation, it has been more than 1,000 years since I last prepared a meal. Old Man Luo was both proud and dejected. The reason why he opened this breakfast shop was partly because he was bored and partly because he thought of his father. Since he was currently Lin Jiufeng's prisoner and had nothing much to do, he started his father's old trade. "It tastes good. I will be your regular customer in the future." Lin Jiufeng gave a thumbs up. "Sir, may I know your honorable name?" Old Man Luo asked. At this moment, everyone stared at Lin Jiufeng. Everyone in the ancient city had come to support Old Man Luo. But right now, they were looking at Lin Jiufeng. Lin Jiufeng thought for a while before replying, "You can call me Mr. Lin." "Mr. Lin, just why exactly are you imprisoning us here?" Fire Lord couldn't help but ask. Everyone looked at Lin Jiufeng, wanting to know the answer to this question. Lin Jiufeng smiled and said, "I am the one who opened the Mountain Sea realm and I am also the one who let you lot come out from the inside. You lot are very powerful, so once you lot left this place, no matter where you lot went, you lot will be able to reign supreme and rule over a region. As for the ambitious ones among you lot, they might attempt to unify the world. This doesn't really matter, however, many lives would be lost in the process. Those people that would die would have been able to live a very long life in this brand new era under the rule of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. They would have been able to live the rest of their lives in relative peace and health. But this will only remain true in the condition that I didn't let you lot emerge into this world. Once you lot are out there, you lot will surely overturn the entire world, along with the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. In return, the common people will suffer a terrible fate. So for the sake of the common people, don't you think that I should imprison you lot here?" Lin Jiufeng slowly explained. Fire Lord fell silent. He looked at Lin Jiufeng and asked, "What if we went out and found a place to cultivate quietly instead of trying to rule the world?" Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. But Lin Jiufeng smiled and remarked, "Find a place to cultivate quietly? What's the difference between that place and this oasis?" Fire Lord was rendered speechless. "Other than not being able to leave this oasis, I won't restrict you lot from anything else. You lot are free to do whatever you want, and you can still quietly absorb the spiritual energy of the Mountain Sea realm from here. You can also try to deepen your comprehension of the great Tao of this world. Furthermore, you don't have to worry about getting into conflict with others. Is there a more ideal cultivation paradise than here?" Lin Jiufeng asked. Everyone didn't know what to say. "Do you really think that you can keep resisting the powerhouses of the Mountain Sea realm?" Fire Lord was quite irritated. "I'll resist for as long as I can. I'm quite confident in myself. You lot should just stay here peacefully. As long as you lot won't cause any trouble, I won't bother with you all. Just pretend that I don't exist." Lin Jiufeng expressed his demands. This time, everyone finally nodded. To be honest, hearing Lin Jiufeng's words, the oasis didn't seem to be that bad anymore. "Then, how long are you going to imprison us for?" Fire Lord asked. "When it's time for you lot to leave, I will naturally let you lot leave." Lin Jiufeng thought for a while but didn't give them an exact timeline. Fire Lord and the others wanted to ask more, but Lin Jiufeng shook his head and refused to answer. "Have some noodles. Have a taste of Old Man Luo's cooking. He's pretty good. I also hope that you lot can develop the talents that you lot had suppressed for the sake of the cultivation path. Treating yourselves as peerless experts all the time will ultimately make you lot too detached from the mortal world. I believe that occasionally becoming mortal through these activities is immensely helpful for anyone's cultivation. Lin Jiufeng imparted a few important bits of the principles of the cultivation path to them. Cultivation principles weren't something that one would certainly understand just by cultivating for a long time. After all, cultivation also needed talent and comprehension. Although Lin Jiufeng had cultivated for a shorter time than them, his cultivation base was already the most powerful amongst them. He was more than qualified to guide them. Becoming mortal. This was Lin Jiufeng's recent realization. He turned himself into an old farmer who quietly planted vegetables and raised livestock in peace. Through this, he was able to experience the life of a mortal. This was akin to a bird who spent most of his waking days soaring through the air. After deciding to land on a branch and rest, the bird was then able to recover, which then helped it maintain its momentum even further. Many of the cultivators listened and learned from Lin Jiufeng's words. It wasn't for any other reason. It was just that Lin Jiufeng was truly powerful. When those who were truly powerful spoke, there would naturally be people listening to their words. The words of successful people were more reliable than the failures. After all, the former had already succeeded, making their advice much more reliable than the latter. I've been flying in the sky for so long that I've forgotten about how it feels like to be immortal. Fire Lord murmured. He seemed to have understood something as he looked at Old Man Luo. He was thinking about what talent he had that he could use to become mortal. I've been flying in the sky since I was born, and I've never landed on the ground. I'm indeed a little out of touch with what's on the ground. Bai Tiandi also reflected on himself. He decided to copy Old Man Luo. Find something to do so that he could calm his heart down and become mortal. Lin Jiufeng looked at the group of people pondering. A slight smile appeared on his face as he took out a couple of silver coins, paid the bill, and turned around to leave the ancient city. Chapter 208, Miss Hong Becoming Mortal. When the people in the ancient city heard Lin Jiufeng's suggestion, they all started to look back at their humble beginnings. Bai Tiandi actually learned to become a farmer. He opened up more than 10 acres of farmland and faced the yellow soil with his back to the sky every day. The clothes he wore were no longer gorgeous. His face turned yellow from the yellow soil. But he had gained many insights throughout his journey of becoming mortal. Bai Tiandi experienced things that he had never experienced before, like the joys of farming and working hard in the fields. All of these were unprecedented for him. It wasn't just Bai Tiandi. The others also did the same and started their second professions in the ancient city. Some people opened small restaurants specifically for lunch and dinner. Some people opened a tailor shop and made clothes for everyone. Some people raised many livestock, they sold or ate them themselves. These people used to act lofty and arrogant. They wore gorgeous clothes made out of expensive fabric and materials, making people feel that they were indescribably noble. But now, they all became mortal. They dressed simply and started working at sunrise before resting at sunset. If outsiders saw these, they would definitely not believe that these people were the world's top powerhouses. Lin Jiufeng was the same as them. Other than defeating a person coming out from the mountain sea realm every day, he spent the rest of his time living an ordinary life in the outskirts of the oasis's ancient city. For him, such days were bliss. In the past few days, the sign-in rewards from the people that Lin Jiufeng defeated were all resources that could immensely help anyone in their cultivation. But such items were completely useless to Lin Jiufeng. He had just fused with the divine soul Fusang tree, so he didn't need these resources at all. Thus, he gave all of them to the white cat. In any case, the white cat needed a huge amount of spiritual energy to make a breakthrough. For example, Lin Jiufeng signed in yesterday and received a divine source stone that weighed 50 kilograms. It was an extremely rare item that could only be found, not suff. This thing required 10,000 years, or even tens of thousands of years, to be born in underground spirit veins that were abundant in spiritual energy. 500 grams of divine source stones was equivalent to 3 months of Lin Jiufeng's absorption of this world's spiritual energy. Since what Lin Jiufeng received weighed 50 kilograms here, one could imagine how dense the spiritual energy it contained. Despite all of that, he gave the stone to the white cat. She didn't stand on ceremony either and directly absorbed it. But even after absorbing tremendous amounts of spiritual energy into her body, the white cat's physical body didn't seem to have changed. She was still curled up in a ball, her eyes were still closed, immersed in her breakthrough. Her aura might have become slightly deeper, but that was all. Lin Jiufeng looked at the white cat and shook his head helplessly. I always thought that you were just a wild cat, but from the looks of it, your background really isn't that simple. I can see that the stronger your cultivation base is, your talent is only getting stronger. The white cat couldn't answer Lin Jiufeng anymore. She had fallen into a deep state of cultivation. Lin Jiufeng looked at her gently. He didn't disturb her. He closed the door of the house and walked out. With a casual flick of his sword energy, he defeated the person who came out from the mountain sea door today. The person who came out this time was someone with a decent cultivation base at the spirit platform realm, but his might wasn't worth mentioning in front of Lin Jiufeng. A casual sword energy defeated him. Then he fell from the sky and was brought back to the ancient city by Old Man Luo, who had just finished the preparation of his restaurant for the morning. Defeated Lu Wenming. Received one form transformation pill. These words appeared in front of Lin Jiufeng's eyes. Form transformation pill? Lin Jiufeng's expression turned strange. He looked at the white cat in the house. For some reason, the image of a catwoman appeared in his mind. Such a quiet and beautiful white cat with an immortal-like aura would definitely be very beautiful in her human form, right? No. Lin Jiufeng shook his head and hurriedly dispelled the images in his mind. He took a deep breath and put away the form transformation pill. Such a useless thing, I might as well throw it away. I mustn't take it out in the future. Lin Jiufeng coldly spat in disdain. What was so good about this form transformation pill? He already had a human form. What? Should he turn into a monster? He kept the form transformation pill in his clothes and close to his body. In any case, there was no need for him to take out this useless pill. The days passed simply like this. Lin Jiufeng signed in every day. If there was anything useful to the white cat, he would always give them to her. If the white cat couldn't use them, Lin Jiufeng would use them himself. Lin Jiufeng's speed of improvement never slowed down at all. The third month passed quietly. There were finally 100 people in the ancient city. These 100 people lived on a single street. As a result, the place seemed to be bustling in activity. Lin Jiufeng would go over to have breakfast every morning. He would even occasionally have lunch or dinner. He interacted with the people in the ancient city of the oasis. He didn't snob them like a king to the commoners of his kingdom. They were now starting to look at Lin Jiufeng in a new light. In the past, they thought that Lin Jiufeng was difficult to get along with. But now, they realized that other than his unfathomable cultivation base, Lin Jiufeng had a very insipid personality. As long as they didn't violate the rules that he set and didn't attempt to leave the oasis, they remained relatively free. They could do whatever they want. They could go out of the city to fish or stroll around the plains. When they were free, they could also go out for a picnic. Considering this, they started to warm up to Lin Jiufeng. They maintained a cordial relationship between them and him. A few days ago, a party was held in the city. Everyone participated and Lin Jiufeng was also invited. He came to drink with everyone, chat, and talk about life. The next day, they all suffered from the effects of a hangover. They collectively scolded King Kaoshan because he was the one who provided the wine. The alcohol content of his wines was simply absurd. Moreover, they were strong wines that were specifically marketed for cultivators. King Kaoshan opened a tavern in the ancient city that specializes in selling wine. He occasionally asked permission from Lin Jiufeng to temporarily let his clone leave the oasis to gather various medicinal herbs for brewing wine. Lin Jiufeng allowed it.
As long as his true body remained in the oasis, it would be fine.
The neighbors got along very well.
Such a lifestyle was also beneficial to the newcomers.
It was easy for them to blend in.
Lin Jiufeng thought that he would have to sign in here for many years before someone from the outside world finally noticed the growing population here. But a few days after the start of the third month, an old friend came.
Miss Hong.
She arrived at the oasis amidst the storm of yellow soil.
She was still as beautiful as ever. Still as gorgeous as ever.
Dressed in red, with a beautiful face and a beautiful figure, she walked in front of Lin Jiufeng with a veil.
Long time no see. Miss Hong imitated Lin Jiufeng's previous tone.
She took off her veil and smiled.
Lin Jiufeng looked at Miss Hong and nodded slightly.
She could be considered an old friend. Although their relationship couldn't be considered that good, they had known each other for many years after all. Thus, there was this air of familiarity around both of them when they interacted.
Why are you here? Lin Jiufeng asked.
I brought the people from the Heavenly Tao sect out and toured the outside world, so we could understand the current situation of this world.
Since it's all over, I came here to visit you.
I wanted to see how you dealt with the mountain sea door. Miss Hong looked at the mountain sea door that stood in the center of the lake.
Everything is going according to plan. Didn't I tell you that I won't let them harm this world? Lin Jiufeng calmly retorted.
Yeah, I didn't expect that you would actually be able to do it.
I haven't heard anything from you during this period of time.
Naturally, I also never saw any overwhelmingly powerful powerhouse in the outside world. You really managed to prevent those people from coming out.
Miss Hong looked at Lin Jiufeng in admiration. You did not let any of them out of the mountain sea realm? Miss Hong asked.
No, they are all in the ancient city, right there.
Lin Jiufeng shook his head and pointed. Miss Hong looked in the direction that he was pointing.
The look on her face said it all.
Am I hallucinating?
Miss Hong felt that there was something wrong with her eyes. She rubbed them clean and looked again.
Are those people the peerless experts from the mountain sea realm? Chapter 209, Miss Hong's intentions. A man with a noble-looking temperament was dressed in rough hemp clothes.
He checked the water source in the fields and looked at the rice growing in the fields. A smile of satisfaction was on his face.
In the oasis not far away, a dignified-looking man was herding a large group of sheep.
He was letting them have their breakfast. He was supposed to be the future celestial emperor, but now he was herding sheep.
The scene looked a little strange if one knew the dignified man's background.
Furthermore, in the ancient city of the oasis, some people opened food stalls while others opened wine shops.
Like mortals, they were busy living their daily lives. Miss Hong stuttered. Are they all people from inside the mountain sea realm? Lin Jiufeng nodded and replied, yes.
Any of them can easily tip the balance of this world.
But what are they doing? Miss Hong asked in horror.
As you can see, they are experiencing life, Lin Jiufeng said calmly.
Experiencing life?
Miss Hong felt that either she was muddled or these experts were dumb.
Would cultivators at the king realm and above even relax their hearts to experience life as a mortal? She couldn't help but look at Lin Jiufeng.
Lin Jiufeng said innocently, I'm also experiencing life as a mortal. Miss Hong looked at the vegetable gardens and poultry around the courtyard. She then stared at him quizzically.
Is this the reason why you are so strong? Miss Hong asked. One could become stronger by experiencing life? Should she try it too? Lin Jiufeng smiled. All right, back to the topic. Why have you returned here this time? The topic of experiencing life should end here for now. After all, if Lin Jiufeng didn't suppress these powerhouses and stop them from leaving, which of them would choose to relax their hearts and experience life as a mortal?
I'm here to see if the seniors of my Heavenly Tao sect have come out, Miss Hong replied.
Lin Jiufeng directly shook his head. Everyone who has come out so far has told me their names. They aren't from the Heavenly Tao sect. Miss Hong couldn't hide her disappointment.
She looked at the mountain sea door and said, I'll wait here for a few days and see if any seniors of my Heavenly Tao sect will come out.
Why are you so persistent in waiting for them to come out? Why are you so anxious? Lin Jiufeng curiously asked. Well, that's because this world doesn't only have one door like this. There are also many other doors. You are blocking the citizens of the Mountain Sea realm, but when the other hidden worlds appear, who can block their citizens from coming out prematurely then? Miss Hong explained. You discovered other worlds? Lin Jiufeng raised his brows. I found some clues. Miss Hong nodded. Take a seat. Tell me more about it in detail. Lin Jiufeng immediately invited Miss Hong to sit down. This was a pleasant surprise. Every hidden world was a treasure trove for Lin Jiufeng. He would definitely be able to sign in at those places. The only probable difference was the quality of rewards those places would produce. After all, it seemed to be dependent on the strength of the powerhouses inside those hidden worlds. I only discovered some clues. As you know, the people of the Heavenly Dao sector are very sensitive to the fluctuations of the world. I sensed the fluctuation of a hidden world in the 100,000 mountains, Miss Hong said. 100,000 mountains, that's within the territory of the monster race. Lin Jiufeng exclaimed in surprise. Yes, it's within the territory of the monster race. I also went to explore there, but I didn't find anything. However, the fluctuations I sensed are definitely real. Miss Hong explained. In other words, in the 100,000 mountains, there is a hidden world that might very well belong to the ancestors of the monster race. Lin Jiufeng guessed. Miss Hong nodded. That's right. Of course, they won't reveal themselves for the time being, but I have to be careful. Sadly, I need the seniors of my Heavenly Dao sect. They are the ones capable enough to seal hidden worlds. I understand. Other than that, is everything okay in the outside world? Lin Jiufeng asked. Everything is fine. There are many powerhouses, that's true, but they are restrained in their actions. There are no major problems for now. The people of the world are living and working in peace. The Xuanhuang God Dynasty is still today's overlord, Miss Hong replied. I'm relieved. It seems that I can keep guard on this Mountain Sea door here in peace. There's no need for me to worry about anything else. Lin Jiufeng was both overjoyed and satisfied. As long as Emperor De was fine, the Xuanhuang God Dynasty would be fine. If the Xuanhuang God Dynasty was fine, Lin Jiufeng wouldn't have to go out and fix its troubles. As for the world fluctuations in the 100,000 mountains, that was far less important to Lin Jiufeng than this place. He could sign in every day here, but there were only fluctuations in the 100,000 mountains. The hidden world there hadn't appeared just yet. After they were done talking about the 100,000 mountains, Miss Hong couldn't suppress her curiosity anymore as she asked, by the way, just how exactly strong you are today? It was only at this moment that she came to her senses. The powerhouses were living the lives of ordinary people here. The only reason why this was happening was that Lin Jiufeng single-handedly suppressed them. Lin Jiufeng smiled and said, I'm just slightly stronger than them. Just slightly stronger? Miss Hong didn't believe it at all, but she didn't ask anymore. Instead, she looked around and sighed. The oasis here was originally the eye of a storm, entangled with various factions that seek to control the precious resources here, which is water. But now, because of you, it has become a utopia. A utopia where every citizen lives freely and well. Lin Jiufeng couldn't help but chuckle at her remark. Yes, but I bet if they had a choice, they definitely wouldn't live a quiet life here like me. Miss Hong also smiled. I will stay here for a few days and wait for someone from my Heavenly Dao sect to appear. If no one from my sect appears, I will make other plans. Up to you. You can stay anywhere in the city. But only one person will emerge every day from the Mountain Sea door. I don't think you have much hope if you're only going to stay here for a few days. Lin Jiufeng shook his head. Miss Hong smiled and didn't say anything else. She entered the city and chose the courtyard that originally belonged to the Heavenly Dao sect. She stayed for 7 days. In these 7 days, Miss Hong's horizons were broadened. Every citizen in the ancient city was countless times stronger than her.
But each of them busied themselves with menial work as they lived peaceful and simple lives like the mortals in the outside world. The opening of the mountain sea door never failed to surprise Miss Hong. The way Lin Jiufeng neatly defeated every cultivator that emerged from its doors astounded her every time. Lin Jiufeng defeated those cultivators without even appearing in person. The people who came out of the mountain sea realm were all countless times stronger than her. Miss Hong felt that she was as insignificant as an ant when standing in front of them. But in front of Lin Jiufeng, they were the ones that were insignificant as ants. This comparison made Miss Hong bitterly smile. She waited for a full 7 days. 7 people appeared in 7 days, but none of them were seniors of the Heavenly Tao sect. Miss Hong was helpless. She could only choose to temporarily leave. She still had many things to do after all. She had to fulfill the promise the members of the Heavenly Tao sect made to the Heavenly Tao. Even if she was alone right now, she had to keep on fulfilling this promise. Before leaving, Miss Hong wrote a letter and passed it to Lin Jiufeng. When the seniors of my Heavenly Tao sect appear, show this letter to them. They will know what happened. I shall take my leave first. Miss Hong handed the letter to Lin Jiufeng and turned around to leave. She walked away amidst the violent yellow soil. Under the clear and cloudless sky, she left. Lin Jiufeng held the envelope and casually put it away. He had no interest in opening it. He then continued to spend every day in peace. Miss Hong's arrival didn't cause any waves. Everyone's days passed peacefully as usual. Lin Jiufeng continued to sign in quietly. He became stronger in peace. 3 years passed in a flash. Chapter 210, The Arrival of King Xian. The 3 years that passed had a significant impact on the ancient city in the oasis. 3 years ago, the ancient city in the oasis became empty after its residents evacuated. But today, it now has more than 1,000 people. Every citizen lived a peaceful and quiet life. Everyone here had been defeated by Lin Jiufeng before. In the beginning, it was difficult for Lin Jiufeng to defeat them when they had just emerged from the door, but as time passed, it became easier and easier for Lin Jiufeng to defeat every newcomer. It wasn't that his opponents had become weaker, his opponents were also constantly becoming stronger. From the initial King Realm cultivators to the later stages of the Spirit Platform Realm cultivators, then to the cultivators beyond the Spirit Platform Realm. The people who came from the Mountain Sea Realm became stronger and stronger, but it also became easier for Lin Jiufeng to clinch victory against them. At first, he had to execute many strikes to defeat Bai Tiandi. But now, he didn't even have to look at his enemy to defeat him. The current Lin Jiufeng could defeat someone who had walked out of the Mountain Sea Realm with a flick of his finger. Even when they joined forces one time back then, Lin Jiufeng still managed to suppress their rebellion. He even killed the leaders who planned the revolt. As a result, everyone who came out of the Mountain Sea Realm and experienced Lin Jiufeng's strength became obedient. They all lived quietly in the ancient city. Some even married each other and gave birth to children. After 3 years, no one from the outside world visited the oasis. The original citizens of this oasis would definitely never return to this place after seeing the colorful and diverse world outside. Many events happened in the outside world during these 3 years, but life remained relatively quiet in the oasis. Everyone lived similar to hermits. 3 years later, Lin Jiufeng stood leisurely in his courtyard. A huge cherry tree was in full bloom. Lin Jiufeng planted it personally and it had already grown after so many years. The white cat meowed and jumped onto Lin Jiufeng's shoulder. Her fur had become even silkier and soft. She was already a boundless realm expert. But the problem was that she had yet to transform into her human form. This surprised both the white cat and Lin Jiufeng. Even the descendants of powerful demons, true dragons, and phoenixes could already transform into their human forms in this realm. But the white cat still wasn't able to do so. Did this mean that her bloodline was even richer than the descendants of the phoenixes and true dragons? Lin Jiufeng was puzzled. He suddenly had the urge to seize the white cat and study her carefully from inside and out. Lin Jiufeng still had the form transformation pills he received from signing in back then. There were several times when Lin Jiufeng wanted to let the white cat eat it.
He wanted to see what she would look like after her transformation. Would she become a cat-eared girl? But Lin Jiufeng immediately rejected this idea once it appeared in his mind. He couldn't force the white cat to take on a human form because of his momentary curiosity. After all, he had no idea what would happen to her bloodline evolution pattern if such a drastic change happened so early into her evolution. Lin Jiufeng stood under the cherry blossom tree and looked at the soft white cat with crystal clear fur. His thoughts started to wander. Why can't I transform into my human form yet? The white cat laid on Lin Jiufeng's shoulder and sighed. She also thought that she would be able to transform into her human form after breaking through to the boundless realm. But what she wished for didn't happen. She remained a cat that Lin Jiufeng treated as a pet. She hated this feeling. But there was nothing she could do about it. It's fine. Being unable to transform yet means that you have great potential. You might even become an immortal in the future. Lin Jiufeng comforted the white cat. Meow. The white cat meowed helplessly. In the past 3 years, you've become stronger and stronger. I don't even know how powerful you are anymore. The white cat looked at Lin Jiufeng. No matter how powerful I am, I won't abandon you. Don't worry about that. Lin Jiufeng gently stroked the white cat. The world's spiritual energy rate has also become even faster over these 3 years. The white cat resigned to her fate as she mumbled in Lin Jiufeng's arms. Lin Jiufeng nodded. That's right. It's not just us here. I can feel that the spiritual energy in the outside world is already abundant enough to produce experts beyond the boundless realm. In fact, someone is already standing at the realm beyond boundlessness outside. Doesn't that mean that Xuanhuang God Dynasty is in danger? The white cat reminded Lin Jiufeng. I can feel that there are also people who are beyond the boundless realm in the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. There's no need for me to worry, Lin Jiufeng replied with a smile. How much longer are you going to stay here? The white cat asked. We will be leaving this place soon. Lin Jiufeng thought for a while and gave a serious answer. The time for them to leave was nigh. Because the number of powerhouses that could give Lin Jiufeng a sign-in opportunity from the Mountain Sea realm was about to be exhausted. He couldn't sign in after defeating those below the King realm. There weren't many people in the Mountain Sea realm left who were at the King realm and above. After all, the Mountain Sea realm was a hidden world. It was but a small part of this boundless world. It was already the realm's fortune to have so many powerhouses within its confines. After 3 years, Lin Jiufeng defeated more than 1,000 experts. The remaining powerhouses inside the Mountain Sea realm were bound to be true powerhouses. As a result, it was safe to assume that there really weren't many of them left. The Mountain Sea door was already completely opened after these 3 years. The true powerhouses of the Mountain Sea realm would soon appear. Lin Jiufeng carried the white cat and walked on the road that he had built himself. He came to the side of the lake and looked at the Mountain Sea door. The door that was currently wide open was only being sealed by the Mountain Sea seal. Fierce spiritual energy rushed out from the inside and surged into this world. This was the sign that more and more powerhouses were about to appear in this world. This bull run would continue until the spiritual energy of this world recovered to its peak. I want to eat Old Man Luo's breakfast, the white cat suddenly said. Okay, I'll bring you there. Lin Jiufeng immediately turned around and walked towards the ancient city. In the ancient city, one could immediately find Old Man Luo's breakfast shop after entering through the main gate. It has been 3 years since Old Man Luo started this second profession of his. In the past 3 years, other than receiving the people defeated by Lin Jiufeng every day, the only thing on his mind was to manage his breakfast shop well. He didn't even cultivate that often anymore. Despite that, he still inadvertently arrived at the middle stage of the spirit platform realm. Only 3 short years passed, but he improved from the king realm to the middle stage of the spirit platform realm. His improvement caused an uproar among the cultivators in the ancient city. It turned out that one was able to comprehend the Great Tao at a faster rate once they truly devoted themselves to becoming mortal. Therefore, the current ancient city seemed to be filled with ordinary people at first glance. There were all sorts of people from all walks of life. Everyone was busy with their own matters. Lin Jiufeng no longer attracted everyone's attention whenever he visited the ancient city. They were already used to his presence. Old man Luo. Give me the usual. Lin Jiufeng sat down and shouted. Okay, Mr. Lin, please wait a moment. Old man Luo happily agreed. Then, he started to get busy. Outside, there was an endless stream of people coming and going. The scene was similar to a painting of the mortal realm that was filled with the various images of mortal lives. But at this moment, creaking sounds came from hundreds of miles away from the ancient city in the oasis. Something seemed to have broken the space apart, revealing another dimensional space from inside the void itself. Then, a large group of worms squeezed out and tore open the void. Their attacks further expanded the hole in the air. A skeleton in a strange costume walked out, its pupils flickered with 5 colored flames. I, King Xian, have finally arrived in this new era. The skeleton let out an excited howl. Behind him, countless warriors woke up from their slumber. Rumble. The warriors began to recover their cultivation base. Warriors from the ancient Dian dynasty, a new era is upon us. I, your king, will bring you all to establish a brand new ancient Dian dynasty. Go ahead and slaughter. There's an ancient city up ahead. Slaughter them and satisfy your flesh and blood. King Xian waved his hand and summoned his subordinates to slaughter the people in the ancient city of the oasis. As a skeleton, King Xian was obviously not as powerful as he was when he was still at his peak. He made a quick scan with his divine consciousness and discovered that the ancient city seemed to be filled with nothing but ordinary people living their daily lives. Thus, he gave the order to slaughter without hesitation. Chapter 211, by Tiandi's Wrath Rumble. King Xian came out of the void and woke up his former subordinates. One by one, their auras slowly recovered. After King Xian died in the previous era, these people also sank into King Xian's tomb with him. But today, these warriors answered King Xian's call and awakened. They were only hundreds of miles away from the oasis, so the undulations from their recovering auras quickly reached the ancient city. In the oasis's ancient city, everyone's faces turned strange. The auras that they felt were still in the process of recovery, but it was evident that they weren't that powerful. With just this bit of ability, they actually want to slaughter everyone in this city? Everyone looked over. On a mountain outside the oasis, a large group of warriors dressed in strange clothes appeared. They were rushing over to the oasis under the leadership of a skeleton. The combined aura of these warriors was not bad, but that was all. Old man Luo glanced at them before simply ignoring them. Mornings were always rush hours for old man Luo. He had to prepare many breakfast dishes for his regular customers after all. Bai Tiandi, who was about to go out and take a look at his own fields, stopped in his tracks and watched the show leisurely. The others behaved the same. Although life in the ancient city was peaceful, it was simply too dull. The things that happened every day were roughly the same. The only thing they looked forward to was whether the person who would come out of the mountain sea realm could defeat Lin Jiufeng. But after 3 whole years, no one looked forward to it anymore. Noticing King Xian's appearance, they felt that it was simply appropriate for them to enjoy a little laughter in their dull daily lives. Lin Jiufeng ate the noodles and came to a sudden realization. 3 years ago, in the imperial palace, that remnant of the ancient Dian dynasty appeared. A parasite worm set up by King Xian almost killed Emperor Dai. When the parasite worm begged for mercy, it said that King Xian's tomb was in the Northwest Territory. I've been in the Northwest Territory for 3 years and have never seen King Xian's tomb. I thought that it wasn't here after all, but I didn't expect it to be so close to the oasis. Fortunately for King Xian, he hid his tomb inside an independent space. If it were anywhere else, Lin Jiufeng would have discovered it long ago. Lin Jiufeng's divine soul was huge and powerful. With a sweep of his divine consciousness, he could see everything within a radius of thousands of miles. Aren't you going to do something about him? The white cat asked as she watched King Xian leading his subordinates over. Lin Jiufeng smiled and replied, "Is there a need for me to bother about them? Were the citizens in this city that easy to slaughter?" The white cat thought about it too. Lin Jiufeng was right.
She looked around and realized that everyone wore teasing looks on their faces as they looked at the approaching enemies.
Isn't sealing his subordinates and forcing them to hide with him in his tomb quite an evil act?
Yeah, the tomb owner is obviously dead. He has now become nothing but a spirit creature.
His subordinates have long been tainted by death energy. Look!
Their faces are pale, and they don't look like they will live for long.
What an embarrassment.
Other than having quite a high cultivation base, this tomb owner is a failure in everything else.
They're coming here, what are you guys going to do? Let's just watch the show. Any one of us can defeat those newly awakened subordinates of his anyway. These people all had the mentality of watching a show.
They watched with ease, not afraid at all. King Xian rushed over with his soldiers, but he found that no one in the city was afraid of them. In fact, these so-called common people were watching him with interest. King Xian, who had the form of an undead creature, was immediately enraged.
He waved his hand and stood outside the ancient city of the oasis.
He shouted coldly, "Kill them all and absorb their life force to replenish yourselves. You all must return to your previous peaks as soon as possible."
Dong dong dong. Behind him, the many soldiers of the ancient Dian dynasty raised their heads.
Their pale skin hid a fanatical killing intent. Kill, kill, kill. Kill, kill, kill. Kill, kill, kill.
The warriors of the ancient Dian dynasty roared.
The broadswords in their hands flickered with cold lights. Then, one by one, they stepped on the farm fields and the plains as they rushed to their targets. Despite this, the many people of the ancient city remained calm as they continued to observe.
But Bai Tiandi couldn't remain calm anymore.
He looked at the rice fields he had painstakingly cultivated and the seedlings he planted being stepped on and turned into dust.
He was instantly enraged. If you want to slaughter the city, then go ahead and do that. But why are you guys stepping on my fields? Bai Tiandi's body moved.
He, who had not made an attack for 3 years, displayed his thunderous fury at this moment.
Boom! Bai Tiandi took a step forward and arrived outside the ancient city.
Then, he slapped out. Pooh! 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 The sun, moon, stars, and the spiritual energy tide were all trembling as they converged, forming a huge palm print that directly encompassed the sky.
None of the warriors of the ancient Dian dynasty were spared.
In the blink of an eye, they exploded into dust that scattered with the wind. At this moment, the world seemed to have stopped for Bai Tiandi's might and majesty.
Bai Tiandi looked at his half-trampled fields with a cold expression. He was furious.
As for King Xian of the ancient Dian dynasty, his soul fire flickered violently.
He didn't expect this, he really didn't expect that an ordinary peasant would actually be able to eliminate all of his warriors with a single slap.
I misjudged you. King Xian's soul fire jumped as he let out an aggrieved scream.
Who would have thought that a sallow-faced man holding a hoe and wearing rough linen clothes would actually be able to make such an extraordinary move? Moreover, he had a very high cultivation base. Void returning. This was the realm after the spirit platform realm, the realm where all living things returned to the void. It was an unfathomable realm, to say the least. Bai Tiandi had never made a move in the past 3 years.
After hearing Lin Jiufeng's words, he became serious and down-to-earth.
He became a farmer and planted rice.
He had been refining himself all this time. 3 years later, not only did he amaze King Xian, but he also stunned the people in the ancient city.
3 years ago, Bai Tiandi was only at the king realm.
3 years later, he quietly climbed to the void returning realm.
Was this the power of understanding the subtleties of ordinary life with one's heart? Bai Tiandi looked at the fields that were left in chaos. He spat coldly. If you want to massacre everyone in this city, why didn't you just fly? Do you know how hard I worked to cultivate these fields? I've been cultivating them for 3 years. I just want to be a farmer in peace. Why did you force me to make a move?
King Xian was rendered speechless. He retorted in fury.
It's just some rice fields. You actually killed all of my soldiers for these things that aren't even worth mentioning?
In your eyes, these are all things that aren't worth mentioning.
But in my eyes, you destroyed what I hold dear in my life. I want you to pay with your life. Bai Tiandi raged. His body instantly rushed out and he raised his hand to strike. Mortal Life Great Seal. His move manifested a terrifyingly humongous hand that seemed to contain the aura of all things returning to the void. Rumble. This time, even the people in the ancient city stared wide agape in surprise. What a terrifying move. Could that skeleton leader withstand it? I may not be in my original body, and I might have lost my 5 senses. This doesn't mean that you have the right to behave atrociously in front of me with just this little bit of strength. King Xian sneered. His soul fire flickered as he directly pulled out a bone from his chest. He then raised his hand and whipped it toward Bai Tiandi. You won't be able to withstand the fury of King Xian. King Xian's cold voice reverberated in the surroundings. Then, a loud sound followed. Boom! King Xian broke the Mortal Life Great Seal and sent Bai Tiandi flying with a move using his bone. Pooh! Bai Tiandi spat out a mouthful of blood. This was his second defeat in life. Chapter 212, Kneel Down. Bai Tiandi's tremendously powerful palm strike broke under the assault of King Xian's chest bone. He was sent flying by the bone. He spat out a few large mouthfuls of blood and looked at King Xian in horror. You're that strong? Bai Tiandi asked in disbelief. He was already at the void returning realm. On the path of cultivation, it could be said that he had reached the pinnacle of what a mortal could achieve. But he was still no match for King Xian. The latter had easily defeated him. I was careless and didn't scan you thoroughly. You deserve to die for slaughtering all my warriors. King Xian retorted coldly. You damn skeleton. You wanted to massacre an entire city right after you awakened. It was your subordinates who provoked me and trampled on my fields. Yet now, you are blaming me? Bai Tiandi struggled to stand up as he glared at King Xian. It's useless no matter how stubborn you are. Although I don't know why you are still farming here despite being a void returning realm expert, you will die today for sure. I will turn you into my puppet. King Xian coldly stated. Under his feet, creaking sounds could be heard as a parasite worm crawled out. It flapped its wings and flew straight at Bai Tiandi. Wow, you play with worms? You're not right in the head. Bai Tiandi's eyelids twitched. He directly pointed a finger, wanting to kill the worm. Do you really expect that you can freely move in front of me? King Xian said coldly. He tapped the air and space itself instantly froze. Bai Tiandi found himself unable to move. He could only watch as the worm flew over. The worm was neither fast nor slow. It seemed as if it wanted to torture Bai Tiandi by making the latter stare at his impending doom. This worm isn't simple. It's a puppet worm. After it enters your body, it will attach itself to your divine soul. It will not do anything at all until I give the order. Once it receives my order, it will control your actions and restrict your abilities. You will forever be unable to resist my orders and you will become my most loyal servant in due time. King Xian walked elegantly as he slowly explained. Bai Tiandi's hands trembled. He didn't want to be controlled by a worm. Buzz! The worm flew over and circled Bai Tiandi. In the very next moment, it directly charged toward Bai Tiandi's body. Bai Tiandi's breathing stopped for a moment as he hurriedly tried to seal his body's pores. Get lost! A domineering voice resounded all of a sudden. A ball of flame burned fiercely in the distance. Then in the blink of an eye, it arrived and directly burned the puppet worm into ashes. King Xian was enraged. The 5 colored flames in his skeleton eyes turned into deep red flames. He looked at the person who made a move just now. He was a butcher. The raging flames in King Xian's pupils swayed momentarily, representing his shock. You are also at the void returning realm, but you are actually killing pigs? King Xian asked in disbelief. What's wrong with killing pigs? Fire Lord snorted coldly. He waved the pig slaughtering knife in his hand and directly shattered the void sealed by King Xian, allowing Bai Tiandi to move freely once again. Are both of you right in the head? King Xian asked quizzically. One of them was farming while the other was slaughtering pigs. There must be something wrong with their head. They must have cultivated in seclusion to the point of going crazy. This was definitely the case. You are the one who's not right in the head. Fire Lord had a bad temper. He directly scolded, your entire family is not right in the head, you dumb skeleton. Bai Tiandi couldn't help but laugh as he remarked happily, not bad. A simple but effective insult. I like it. King Xian chuckled. Cold winds blew as he pointed at Fire Lord and walked over. It seems that I'm right that both of you have gone senile from cultivating. With such capabilities, both of you are actually farming and killing pigs. It's simply too embarrassing. Instead of wasting such talent and cultivation by killing you both, why don't I just take you two for my own use? Creak. Creak. Several puppet worms appeared and crawled out from under King Xian's clothes. Just obediently become my subordinates. You two alone won't be able to protect this ancient city. King Xian said coldly. The two of us can't protect this city. But what about 4, 6, or 8 of us? Fire Lord sneered. Lies, deception. How can there be so many experts at the Void Returning Realm in one place? King Xian scoffed in disdain. There may not be in other places, but here, there are many of those experts. Bai Tiandi remarked with a strange look. What big words! King Xian sneered. He didn't believe him at all. Everyone. This skeleton won't believe me. What should I do? Fire Lord shouted. Everyone. It's been such a long time since we've gotten into a fight. Aren't you all bored of doing the same routine every day? Bai Tiandi shouted. King Xian watched coldly. For him, these two were mere clowns performing in a circus. Beyond the Void Returning Realm was the false immortal realm. The false immortal realm had already touched the scent of immortality. Logically speaking, this realm didn't belong to the mortal realm anymore. Hence, the Void Returning Realm was the pinnacle of this world. It was already impressive that there were 2 Void Returning cultivators in one city. But these two actually said that there were other Void Returning experts in this city? What a joke! Boom! But just as King Xian abandoned this thought, a few terrifying auras came from the ancient city. These auras swept through the clouds as they revealed their presence. The soul-firing King Xian's eye sockets fiercely trembled. He made a sidelong glance at the direction of the auras, and he saw a chef walking out. His plump belly was covered with the smell of oil and smoke. What's up? The two of you at once can't handle him? The chef laughed as he asked. King Xian mumbled in shock. A Void Returning Realm chef. But his shock further intensified when he saw that behind the chef, an old man who was cutting hair for others walked out with a shy smile. Behind the old man was King Kaoshan, who was herding sheep. After listening to Lin Jiufeng's words back then and applying them in practice, he managed to make a breakthrough into the Void Returning Realm. A barber and a shepherd at the Void Returning Realm. King Xian was about to vomit blood as his soul fire trembled. How could this be? How could there be so many of them here? It turned out that Bai Tiandi and Fire Lord weren't clowns. He was actually the clown this entire time. Are we enough? If it's not enough, there's more like us inside. You will definitely be shocked by how many of us are inside. The total number of powerhouses outside can't compare to the sheer quality of the experts here. Bai Tiandi chuckled and remarked. He felt inexplicably pleased with the shocked look on King Xian's face. The confident and conceited Bai Tiandi had evidently changed after the blow he got from Lin Jiufeng. You guys? Why are so many powerhouses like you guys are gathered in one place? And why are you all doing these mundane things like butchering, cutting hairs, being cooks and shepherds? What's with this lifestyle? King Xian couldn't understand no matter what. It's all because of Mr. Lin. Fire Lord bluntly replied. Yes, this is all because of Mr. Lin. Bai Tiandi nodded. He didn't want to compete with Lin Jiufeng anymore. He was a peerless genius,
but Lin Jiufeng was a peerless freak. It was just like comparing apples and oranges. Both of them simply weren't in the same category.
Mr. Lin?
King Xian was puzzled.
Who is this Mr. Lin? Mr. Lin is eating noodles there. Fire Lord pointed.
King Xian's gaze landed on a breakfast shop at the city gate. A young man was sitting there, dressed in simple but clean clothes. He was about to finish his last bowl of noodles. Then, Lin Jiufeng stood up and slowly walked out with a white cat in his arms. Wherever he passed, everyone showed him respect. Under the respectful gazes of Bai Tiandi and the others, Lin Jiufeng walked up to King Xian. He looked at King Xian expressionlessly.
"Kneel down."
He said two simple words. King Xian was instantly enraged. He immediately wanted to kill Lin Jiufeng. But in the very next moment, his skeleton body knelt down uncontrollably.
Thump! The insufferably arrogant King Xian was forced to kneel down before Lin Jiufeng.
Chapter 213, Death of King Xian. His words were the law. Lin Jiufeng only said 2 words, but it was enough to force King Xian on his knees. It was as if these 2 words held great power.
King Xian subconsciously obeyed, not daring to resist at all. Only after kneeling down did King Xian remember that he was a king. Even though the ancient Dian dynasty was gone now, he was still its king.
In the first place, becoming an undead skeleton was already something that he could barely accept. In addition, he had just emerged from his tomb, but he immediately suffered such a huge blow. His warriors were wiped out and he was forced to kneel before a young man. This was a great humiliation. King Xian was so angry that his bones started to tremble.
He let out a thunderous roar. A king cannot be humiliated.
He tried his best to stand up, wanting to resist Lin Jiufeng.
But the result was that Lin Jiufeng pointed at the void.
The void was like water for him. It rippled layer by layer. Then with a bang, it smashed onto King Xian.
Crack!
King Xian's bones directly broke.
Not 1 or 2, but many of his bones fractured.
Only his skull didn't shatter. It rolled down and came to Lin Jiufeng's feet.
"What did you just say?" Lin Jiufeng asked calmly. King Xian only had a skull left.
He was indescribably shocked. His soul fire quivered in fear.
He was thoroughly afraid. "You? How come you're so strong?"
King Xian's terrified voice rang out.
It wasn't just King Xian who felt that Lin Jiufeng was incredibly terrifying. Everyone in the ancient city felt the same. Especially Bai Tiandi, who was watching from the sidelines. He didn't know what to say.
When King Xian fought him, the battle was very simple. Even though he used everything he had and gave his all, he still couldn't defeat King Xian.
The difference between them was like the difference between an eagle and a chick.
But facing Lin Jiufeng, King Xian seemed to have become like him when he was fighting the latter just now.
It was exactly the same.
They both felt powerless. It was as if they weren't facing a single opponent, but the entire world as their enemy.
"He's too freakishly strong. I'd better compare myself to a human. I can't compare to a monster," Bai Tiandi remarked.
"Wait, you're still comparing yourself to him?"
Fire Lord chuckled. "I've long extinguished such thoughts.
He told me to be down to earth, so I became a butcher. His teaching didn't disappoint me. After I became mortal, my cultivation speed increased rapidly.
Despite that, I knew that I still wouldn't be able to defeat him.
He is simply terrifying. I suspect that he is already at the final realm."
"The final realm?"
Bai Tiandi's breathing stopped as 2 words appeared in his mind.
False immortal. This was the final realm of the mortal cultivators.
Being a cultivator at this realm meant that one was already half-step into reaching immortality. This was an unfathomable realm that no cultivator had thoroughly understood.
"It's only been 3 years, he can't be that fast, right?" King Kaoshan gasped and asked. "Do you really think so? Do you really think that Mr. Lin is someone who plays by the book?" Fire Lord asked with a cold smile. Everyone thought about it and agreed. Lin Jiufeng didn't act according to common sense. No one could measure the speed of his improvement. This time, the way everyone looked at Lin Jiufeng changed drastically. Lin Jiufeng's sheer strength served as deterrence and extinguished the thoughts of these people to fight him. I'm starting to sympathize with this King Xian. Bai Tiandi suddenly chuckled. Although he used the word sympathy, it was actually more of schadenfreude. Bai Tiandi had just tasted the second defeat in his life after being defeated by the latter after all. Saying that will make people misunderstand, Fire Lord commented. Misunderstand what? Bai Tiandi looked at Fire Lord in confusion. They might misunderstand that the once insufferably arrogant and annoying Bai Tiandi has disappeared. They'll think that you've been replaced by a talkative kid now. Fire Lord curled his lips. That's where you're wrong. I'm just biding my time and letting you guys catch up to my cultivation base. After all, the gap between us is huge. I don't want you all to feel inferior looking up to a genius like me. If it weren't for my magnanimity, how could you all have the honor to talk to me, the future celestial emperor? Bai Tiandi's attitude immediately reverted to what it was 3 years ago. You should be grateful. Kneel down and lick my feet, Bai Tiandi proudly stated. Yup, that attitude is about right. That's more like it was 3 years ago. As soon as you opened your mouth back then, I always had this urge to tie your tongue into a knot and stuff you back into your mother's stomach. You've finally come back, eh? Fire Lord sneered. The others watched as Lin Jiufeng taught King Xian a lesson. At the same time, they listened to the conversation between Bai Tiandi and Fire Lord with smiles on their faces. They both enjoyed the banter of the two and King Xian's humiliation. Lin Jiufeng ignored the bickering between Bai Tiandi and Fire Lord. He looked indifferently at King Xian's skull and asked, I thought you needed a human emperor with abundant destiny energy to come into being? A few years ago, Emperor Des suffered a serious illness in the imperial capital. It was caused by King Xian's parasite worm. At that time, in order to live, the soul fragment living in the parasite worm told him everything. King Xian needed a human emperor's body as a vessel to descend into the mortal realm once again. But today, he managed to come into being. However, his form was a skeleton. This was out of Lin Jiufeng's expectations. How did you know about that? King Xian was astounded. Plap. Lin Jiufeng casually waved his hand. A stream of true qi directly whipped out. It passed through the skull and lashed onto King Xian's soul fire, causing King Xian to let out a tragic cry. I'm the one asking here. You just have to answer honestly. There's no need for you to say anything else, Lin Jiufeng said coldly. Lin Jiufeng had no good impression of King Xian. It was because of his orders that the parasite worm invaded Emperor De's body. If Lin Jiufeng didn't manage to return in time, Emperor De would have died. If Emperor De died back then, the Unrivalled God Dynasty would have experienced a series of tumultuous years. Lin Jiufeng would then be forced to make a move to stabilize the nation. But all of this was still considered the better scenario. The worst scenario would mean that King Xian succeeded in occupying Emperor De's body to control the Unrivalled God Dynasty. If that happened, Lin Jiufeng would have experienced a massive headache. Hence, Lin Jiufeng was very cold toward King Xian. He whipped King Xian until the latter shrieked. King Xian furiously roared. I am a king. The king of a dynasty. Your ancient Dian dynasty has long perished. The era has changed, king. Lin Jiufeng sarcastically said as he sneered and whipped King Xian once again. The latter's soul fire fiercely trembled as it weakened. With a tragic cry, King Xian was forced to accept the reality of his situation. He was now meat on someone else's chopping board. He didn't dare to speak anymore. Answer my question, Lin Jiufeng calmly said. I had no choice. I waited for so long, but no such opportunity arrived, nor could I find a human emperor to take over. I had no choice but to transfer my soul into a corpse and become an undead creature so I can come into being. This way, I can come out and find another way to obtain a fleshly body. King Xian cried. Since you were forced to do such a thing, does this mean that you no longer have any helpers? Lin Jiufeng asked. Yes, I'm all alone now. King Xian nodded. Then die.
Lin Jiufeng directly stated.
What?
King Xian's soul fire fiercely shot up.
He was astonished by what he heard. He never expected Lin Jiufeng to say this. Weren't they having a good chat?
After being whipped a few times, he had also become obedient.
But Lin Jiufeng still wanted to kill him? King Xian wanted to ask why. But he was destined to never hear the answer.
It was because Lin Jiufeng directly stepped on him.
Boom!
His leg shattered the void as it stepped on King Xian. King Xian's skull and soul fire split apart and dissipated into nothingness.
King Xian died.
Lin Jiufeng carried the white cat and slowly walked back to his courtyard. In the eyes of Bai Tiandi and the onlookers, his back suddenly looked so tall and mighty.
Chapter 214. Looking at a false immortal killing King Xian was a decision that had been made long ago.
Before he came to the Northwest Territory, Lin Jiufeng decided that he would definitely find King Xian and kill him. It was all because King Xian tried to possess Emperor De. After literally stepping on King Xian to death, Lin Jiufeng had directly eliminated all future troubles of the Unrivalled God Dynasty.
He solved them today, once and for all. King Xian was a false immortal in the previous era. He was very powerful and couldn't be underestimated. But that was all in the previous era.
At the end of the previous era, King Xian was killed and only his soul remained.
He hid in his own tomb to live through the era when the spiritual energy in the world was in its decline. Since the decline had passed, the rise was imminent, so King Xian wanted to rise up once again. The first part of his plan was to control a significant leader using his parasite worm and eventually take the latter's body for himself. After this plan of his ended up in failure, King Xian had no choice but to transform himself into an undead type of creature. With his soul fire paired with his undead body, he gained the strength of the middle to late stages of the void returning realm. Although he could easily defeat Bai Tiandi. Although he was able to force the powerhouses in the ancient oasis to appear. He no longer had his supreme strength from the previous era. But to be honest, dying and coming into being after a few thousand years as an undead creature that had a cultivation base at the void returning realm was already incredible. He was akin to a prodigy-like existence. Sadly, he met Lin Jiufeng, he met a freak. He couldn't do anything at all in front of Lin Jiufeng. He had no ability to resist at all. In an instant, he was stomped by Lin Jiufeng's foot. His soul fire and bones directly turned into dust that scattered into the wind. The scene looked strangely picturesque. But King Xian could no longer see anything. Even during the few seconds before his death, he never expected that he would be killed immediately after just coming into being in this brand new era. And it was in such a humiliating manner. King Xian died with grievances. But no one cared about him. Lin Jiufeng left after killing King Xian. He brought the white cat back to his courtyard. Bai Tiandi looked at his crops with heartache. He kept mumbling that he wanted to save them. Fire Lord mumbled that he still had a few pigs to kill. There was a bonfire party tonight, and he was the leader in charge of logistics. The others turned around and left. They busied themselves with their own matters. No one cared about King Xian's death. It was as if he had never been here before. No one thought about him at all. If King Xian knew about this, he would definitely turn into a vengeful spirit. Returning to the courtyard, Lin Jiufeng stopped to rest and he looked around him. The distant lake was as pure as a blue mirror, reflecting the beauty of the sky. In the far distance, the scenery in the Northwest Territory had greatly improved in the past 3 years. Green trees had grown en masse. The place didn't look like a rainforest just yet, but the overall scenery looked quite beautiful in the eyes. Killing King Xian was so easy for you, the white cat couldn't help but speak up. If I can't kill King Xian that easily, then wouldn't I have wasted the past 3 years? Lin Jiufeng asked in a matter-of-factly way. King Xian was so strong. He beat up Bai Tiandi and the others until they couldn't fight back at all, but he couldn't even stand in front of you. Are you already at the false immortal realm? The white cat's eyes shone with golden light. False immortal realm? Lin Jiufeng smiled and didn't answer.
Instead, he looked at the pure blue crystal lake. The breeze was gentle and the lake water looked fantastic. The surrounding was beautiful to the point that it could cleanse one's heart. Meow. Seeing that Lin Jiufeng didn't answer, the white cat meowed in displeasure. I'm almost there, Lin Jiufeng replied.
Almost?
The white cat's bright eyes stared at Lin Jiufeng.
What do you need?
The white cat asked.
Lin Jiufeng thought for a while and replied seriously, I need a rain. You need a rain again?
The white cat understood Lin Jiufeng's old pattern.
It was like this every time. Every time he broke through, it would be on a rainy day.
It was as if the rainy days were a blessing. To Lin Jiufeng, his breakthroughs always happened in the rain. I'm just waiting for it to happen naturally, there's no need for me to force it, Lin Jiufeng said. He was already at the peak of the void returning realm. He was only one step away from the false immortal realm that the white cat mentioned.
To Lin Jiufeng, this step truly was arduous.
He had to be very careful on his journey all the way. Hence, the rain that he was waiting for needed to come on a later date.
It's almost noon. Aren't you going to open the Mountain Sea realm and defeat someone yet?
The white cat suddenly realized that Lin Jiufeng didn't undo the seal of the Mountain Sea realm as usual today. Normally, Lin Jiufeng had already defeated a person at this time of the day and that same person would be brought back by Old Man Luo into the ancient city. But today, Lin Jiufeng remained idle. Lin Jiufeng looked at the pure blue lake water in deep thought. He paid no attention to the Mountain Sea door.
Strange.
Lin Jiufeng stroked the white cat's head gently and replied, From today onwards, there's no need for me to defeat one person a day.
Why?
The white cat asked, puzzled. Every cultivator above the king realm from the Mountain Sea realm are all in the ancient city already.
There's no need for me to defeat the rest. Lin Jiufeng explained.
So you can directly open the Mountain Sea realm now? Asked the white cat. No, there is still someone that I haven't defeated yet in the Mountain Sea realm.
Lin Jiufeng shook his head. Didn't you say that every cultivator above the king realm is already in the ancient city? Then, who do you still need to defeat?
The white cat asked, puzzled. It's that so-called immortal for those people, Lin Jiufeng softly replied.
The white cat jumped onto the window and asked in surprise, a false immortal?
The only thing that could make Lin Jiufeng so worried was the last realm in the cultivation world.
False immortal.
Yes. Lin Jiufeng nodded and looked at the Mountain Sea seal. He saw through the door and looked at the false immortal inside.
The Mountain Sea realm isn't big. It's already incredible that so many powerhouses are born inside. But no matter how many powerhouses there are, there's only one false immortal. He is also the most powerful person in the Mountain Sea realm. I have to defeat him before I can leave. Lin Jiufeng explained. After defeating the false immortal, the Mountain Sea realm would then be completely useless to him. Can you win?
The white cat was worried. If I can't win, then I won't undo the Mountain Sea seal.
Lin Jiufeng smiled and said, I'm not that stupid.
That's good. Just seal the Mountain Sea door for 10 years or even 100 years.
After your breakthrough into the false immortal realm, you can then open it.
The white cat suggested.
I know what to do.
You should pay more attention to yourself.
When can you transform into your human form?
I'm worried that you'll still be very weak even after I've arrived at the false immortal realm. Lin Jiufeng changed the topic, not wanting to talk about the false immortal expert in the Mountain Sea realm. At the mention of this problem, the white cat drooped her head and sighed.
I also want to transform. I feel that you have become less and less interested in me recently. I want to transform and amaze you with my beauty.
Lin Jiufeng couldn't be bothered with the white cat's nonsense. Perhaps it was because she was a female cat, but she loved to perform and amuse others. Whenever Lin Jiufeng ignored her, she always easily became bored. Then whenever that happened, she would make her presence known by jumping onto Lin Jiufeng's chest and pounding his chest a few times. And when Lin Jiufeng finally paid attention to her this way, both of them would then look at the scenery around them. Behind the Mountain Sea door, a pair of eyes stared at Lin Jiufeng. He also sensed Lin Jiufeng. Even though Lin Jiufeng didn't open the seal on the mountain sea door, this false immortal remained calm and composed. Because from Lin Jiufeng's eyes, he knew that the day of their confrontation wasn't too far off.
Chapter 215, The Catastrophe of the Parasite Worms. The day after the death of King Xian, everything in the ancient city remained the same. Everyone was busy with their own matters.
Lin Jiufeng also continued his cultivation in silence. Although he couldn't sign in every day anymore, Lin Jiufeng still needed to prepare to deal with the most powerful enemy he was about to fight so far.
The false immortal of the mountain sea realm.
Lin Jiufeng believed that after defeating this false immortal, the reward from signing in would definitely be very generous. That was why he had to maintain his peak state and wait for the big battle. Life in the oasis was peaceful, but the outside world was in turmoil. Yesterday, Lin Jiufeng killed King Xian.
Everything should have ended right there and then.
However, King Xian's subordinates that had awakened in advance arranged for his arrival by waking up the slumbering parasite worms of the ancient Dian dynasty.
The reason why the ancient Dian dynasty was so powerful was because of these parasite worms.
Countless parasite worms of various colors and sizes were being controlled by King Xian.
Under King Xian's control, these parasite
worms didn't cause trouble and obediently listened to King Xian's subordinates. But after King Xian's death yesterday, his soul fire was extinguished. The parasite worms instantly sensed his death and they immediately went berserk. The parasite worms were controlled by their owner, King Xian. Upon King Xian's death, the already ferocious parasite worms lost control and immediately went berserk, directly biting all of King Xian's subordinates to death. Then they brought disaster to the mortal realm. In just one day, the ancient Dian dynasty's parasite worms collectively appeared. They had been in hiding for thousands of years, and the parasite worms were all bored out of their minds. Now that they were no longer restricted by King Xian, the parasite worms began to kill rampantly. Millions and millions of parasite worms crawled out from the various tombs outside the territory of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. They were densely packed, causing one's scalp to turn numb just from seeing them alone. The parasite worms followed the fluctuations that were created in the imperial capital of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty and began to move forward. Because of Emperor De's rich destiny energy and the prosperity of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty, although the parasite worms escaped the control of King Xian, they still remembered that King Xian wanted to find an emperor with prosperous destiny energy to possess. Hence, they targeted the imperial capital where Emperor De was located. The appearance of the parasite worms instantly shocked the world. Countless people came to know about it as the news spread like wildfire. Looking at the densely packed parasite worms that resembled an army of billions, everyone's eyes were filled with shock. The catastrophe of the parasite worms. This disaster spread throughout the world. Emperor De, who was presiding over the imperial capital, immediately ordered Princess Yulin to bring hundreds of thousands of imperial guards and a few powerhouses to rush to the borders.
They must eliminate these parasite worms and prevent them from entering the borders of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty.
They must not let them harm the common people. Hundreds of thousands of troops rushed to the borders, finally stopping the advance of the parasite worms. But the troops only managed to stop the advance, that's all. There were many strange existences amongst the parasite worms. Even though Princess Yulin brought a group of powerhouses with her, they were still caught off guard. For example, the son of the Millennium Sword God of the old era was ambushed by a child mother parasite worm.
He became unconscious for 10 days before waking up.
The severity of his injury alone troubled Princess Yulin. More importantly, the great Xia dragon sparrow in the plains also started to interfere. They wanted to use the catastrophe of the parasite worms to threaten the Xuanhuang God Dynasty and occupy some of its territories. The people from the foreign tribes and the islands overseas also visited the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. They participated in this matter and all of them took advantage of the parasite worms to start their evil schemes. They not only acted on their own, but they also contacted the ambitious cultivators throughout the cultivation world. The group of powerhouses tacitly started to cause trouble for the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. Princess Yulin found it hard to know what to prioritize in this situation.
In the end, she chose to guard the borders before sending people to Emperor De to request reinforcement.
Emperor De then sent the king of rogue cultivators and the war machine to reinforce them. With Emperor De's orders, only a few hidden powerhouses remained in the imperial capital.
Of course, this included Monk Fusan.
In just 2 months, many battles occurred at the borders of the plains. The various factions used the catastrophe of the parasite worms to constantly probe the strength of the Xuanhuang God Dynasty. The Xuanhuang God Dynasty started to feel the pressure as they sent the young people from the martial temples to the borders for their so-called practical experience training. A huge battle occurred that lasted for a long time. During this period of time, the entire world's attention was focused on the borders. As more and more people from the previous era woke up, the Xuanhuang God Dynasty started to have too many enemies. Princess Yulin presided over the borders and she found it incredibly hard to endure pressure. There were too many enemies, and no one knew where they would come from.
At the border, the majestic city walls stood tall under the setting sun.
When the sun shone down, the place seemed desolate. The city walls were covered in dark blood. Although the blood had long dried up, it was still easy to notice that the blood consisted of both the blood of humans and the parasite worms. After a day of rest, Princess Yulin stood on the city wall and looked into the distance. Her heart was heavy. Her beautiful face looked grim. It contrasted her fiery and dazzling figure. As a female general, the soldiers weren't convinced of her ability to lead at first. Although she was a princess and had a noble status, did she really understand the art of war and what war was truly like? But in the past 2 months, Princess Yulin had consistently led the troops and always charged into the battles first. With her sword techniques, she killed countless enemies with her sword. On the battlefield, her fiery red clothes would strangely become increasingly bright.
It was unknown whether if it was from the blood of the enemies or Princess Yulin's baleful aura itself.
Thus, she managed to convince everyone in the world with her actions.
Princess, it's been 2 months.
Although we've killed many of these parasite worms, our enemies are only increasing.
The Boundless Realm cultivators are no longer of any use to us anymore. The King Realm cultivators have taken the stage now. The King of Rogue cultivators appeared behind Princess Yulin and sighed. For some reason, the spiritual energy recovery rate of the world increased in the past 3 years. The Boundless Realm was no longer at the peak of this world. The peak combat power today was the King Realm.
The Xuanhuang God Dynasty also has King Realm cultivators under its banner, but the dynasty only had a handful of such cultivators.
The War Machine was one of them. The King of Rogue cultivators was one of them. Monk Fusan was one of them.
There were also a few others hidden in the dark to protect the imperial capital. On the surface, even Princess Yulin and the son of the Sword God were only at the peak of the Boundless Realm. Up to this point in the battle, they were relying on the King of Rogue cultivators and the War Machine to hold on.
I know. I'm also about to make a breakthrough.
I've worked hard these 2 months, it's about time for me to progress. The son of the Sword God is also about to make his breakthrough.
Princess Yulin nodded.
But the number of powerhouses on the other side will only continue to increase as time passes. The King of Rogue cultivators remained bitter.
He looked into the distance.
He sensed more than 10 auras belonging to those of the King Realm.
They're together.
They seem determined to break through this pass, the King of Rogue cultivators said solemnly.
Princess Yulin's expression turned ugly. Are you sure?
I'm sure. There's naturally no need to talk about that great Xia dragon sparrow. The One Nation from overseas has also mobilized a few of their King Realm combatants.
There are also people from the demonic sects, Daoist sects, and the descendants of aristocratic families. They've gathered together to make a move. You must come up with an idea soon.
Although the War Machine is very good at fighting, it's simply not enough. The King of Rogue cultivators grimly stated. Princess Yulin replied decisively, I will immediately get Emperor De to send more powerhouses here.
This Jade Gate Pass cannot be lost. If it is lost, the land thousands of miles behind this pass will also be lost.
The King of Rogue cultivators watched as Princess Yulin communicated with Emperor De. He observed the auras in the distance that didn't conceal themselves at all. His heart turned heavy.
Could the Xuanhuang God Dynasty resist the attacks of so many forces together? Emperor De, who was far away in the imperial capital, received Princess Yulin's message. His expression turned cold as he decisively replied, "I will get 5 King Realm cultivators to support you there." Princess Yulin communicated with Emperor Diz through their souls. She asked, "Then what about the safety of the imperial capital?" Emperor Diz said coldly, "It doesn't matter. I have the golden dragon of destiny in my hand. Those that are strong enough won't be my match. But if we do this, wouldn't that mean that we're throwing every caution to the wind?" Princess Yulin took a deep breath and exhaled. She felt immense pressure on her shoulders. "Do your best to protect the Yuhua God Dynasty and the people behind you. This is our responsibility," Emperor Diz said firmly. "All right, we will fight to the death," Princess Yulin decisively stated. Chapter 216, Do You Want to Go Out? The eyes of the entire cultivation world turned into this great battle that could erupt at any moment in front of the Jade Gate Pass. To the outside world, this battle was a catastrophe caused by the parasite worms. But anyone with discerning eyes could see that countless forces were targeting the Yuhua God Dynasty from the shadows. Over the years, most of the cultivators in the world were dissatisfied with the Yuhua God Dynasty. The recovery of spiritual energy in the new era should have been a great opportunity to occupy territory and develop their own forces. In the past 3 eras, this had always been the case. There had never been a god dynasty or nation that could resist the cultivators of the world for decades at the beginning of the world's recovery of spiritual energy. But the Yuhua God Dynasty was an exception to this. Nearly 90 years have passed since the dawn of the era of spiritual energy recovery. In these 90 years, the Yuhua God Dynasty changed 3 emperors, but it never once declined. This dynasty that had maintained unification for so many years was still thriving. It occupied the most fertile land in the world, had the most population, and had the most abundant resources. Who wouldn't be jealous? But when facing the Yuhua God Dynasty alone, they really had no chance of winning. In the previous few times that they tried to make their own moves, the Yuhua God Dynasty perfectly dealt with their actions, scaring the other forces into inactivity. Everyone knew that there was a terrifying guardian deity behind the Yuhua God Dynasty. Moreover, the Yuhua God Dynasty was also starting to groom many powerhouses. Hence, no one dared to take the initiative to step forward and provoke the Yuhua God Dynasty. But the catastrophe of the parasite worms this time gave them hope. With the catastrophe as the stepping stone, they decided to go against the Yuhua God Dynasty. They wanted to outright destroy the Yuhua God Dynasty. Hence, the catastrophe of the parasite worms that originally only covered a small region of land thanks to the efforts of the Yuhua God Dynasty to suppress them, instantly became a calamity that shook the world. The parasite worms also started to evolve. With millions of them dying in battle, the remaining ones started to evolve in different ways. Although their pattern of evolution was unknown, they all had something in common. The evolution made them stronger. They had become a grave threat to the dynasty. The powerhouses of the various large factions in the world were looking at the Jade Gate Pass. Emperor Day immediately used his trump cards. 5 King Realm cultivators, including Monk Fusan. When these people arrived at the Jade Gate Pass, they saw countless parasite worms surrounding the area. There were also hidden powerhouses from various factions. There were more than 10 King Realm experts as their enemies, and this number was still increasing. Princess Yulin stood in front of the Jade Gate Pass with a serious expression as she looked into the distance. They could withstand the parasite worms, but after dealing with the parasite worms, they definitely wouldn't be able to withstand the King Realm cultivators from the various factions. Noon arrived. There are already more than 20 King Realm experts on the other side. The son of the Millennium Sword God from the old era reported. Behind Princess Yulin stood a group of powerhouses. Each of them wore solemn expressions, including the 5 King Realm experts that had just arrived. Why are there so many of them? Princess Yulin asked in shock. The Great Xia Dragon Sparrow has 5 King Realms, and the forces of the various factions combined created this number. There are more than 20 of them in total, and this doesn't include those from the overseas Wu nation, the king of rogue cultivators solemnly reported. This is not counting those from the Wu nation? Princess Yulin gritted her teeth. That's right. The One Nation is determined to take a share of the loot and enter our continent. Hence, they sent 10 King Realm cultivators of their own. Once these 10 King Realms joined the battlefield, everything would quickly turn into their favor. The King of Rogue Cultivators said meaningfully. What's with that look? Princess Yulin stared at the King of Rogue Cultivators. The people from One Nation contacted me and said that they wanted to see you. They have a business to discuss, the King of Rogue Cultivators softly replied. What business? Princess Yulin frowned. I don't know, but I've already brought their representative here. Do you want to see her, Princess? The King of Rogue Cultivators asked. Bring her here. Princess Yulin said coldly. A woman was brought up. She looked beautiful and seductive. Why do you want to see me? Princess Yulin glanced at her. The fox-like beauty's aura was simply too heavy. Princess Yulin coldly snorted and questioned. Princess, the One Nation have admired the Yuhua God Dynasty for a long time. We hope to make a deal with the Yuhua God Dynasty. The charming woman said with a smile. What business? Princess Yulin asked coldly. We will help the Yuhua God Dynasty solve the problem at hand. The Yuhua God Dynasty only needs to pay a small price in return, the charming woman said. Isn't your nation already standing at the camp of our enemies? You've already become friendly with the people of the Great Xia Dragon Sparrow. Princess Yulin sneered. She didn't believe her words at all. After careful consideration, we discovered that the Yuhua God Dynasty is still the best. The people of the Great Xia Dragon Sparrow don't know what's good for them. They want benefits, but they don't want to pay the price for it. Compared to them, we still like the Yuhua God Dynasty the most, the charming woman explained. Just tell me what you want. Princess Yulin didn't have the patience to listen to anything else. Our One Nation was established overseas, but our ancestors came from the Central Plains. We want to return to the Central Plains, but we lack a place to stay. As long as the Yuhua God Dynasty agrees to give us a piece of land in the southeast that is close to the sea, we promise to help you in your problems. The charming woman solemnly stated. Princess Yulin laughed in anger. You want my Yuhua God Dynasty to give up land? No, no, no. There's no need to put it so bluntly. It's just a trade-off. The territory of the Yuhua God Dynasty might be vast, and we know that it has always been passed down generations after generations. The Yuhua God Dynasty is powerful. This is true, but the era has already changed. The Yuhua God Dynasty's territory is so huge, but its forces are spread too thinly for it to guard all of its borders. This is why it's a good thing for the Yuhua God Dynasty to give up a portion of its land. In return, we will help you deal with your enemies in one fell swoop. It's a win-win situation. The charming woman explained. You have to know that our side has 10 King Realm cultivators. We can easily tip the balance on this battlefield to our liking. In short, we can control the battlefield. I'm sure that the Yuhua God Dynasty does not want its enemies to break through this Jade Gate Pass and let their enemies outside directly invade its territories, am I right? The vixen-like woman faintly smiled. Although she looked fragile and easy to kill, her words were laced with venom. Princess Yulin smiled. She stretched out her hand and pointed out while saying, "Look around. Look at their faces." The vixen scanned the crowd and found that everyone had ugly looks on their faces. The ugliest was the King of Rogue Cultivators. Because he was the one who brought her here. The vixen frowned, but she quickly added. Only our One Nation can help you in your predicament. It's only reasonable for you to pay a little price for our help. Well, it doesn't really matter. We can still obtain the land that we want once this Jade Gate Pass collapses. The vixen-like woman directly threatened Princess Yulin. Say no more. Because I will tell you today that the descendants of the Yuhua God Dynasty will not give up even the tiniest bit of the land that our ancestors passed down to us. Not only will our ancestors disagree, but the citizens will also not agree to such a proposal. If the One Nation wants to occupy the land of my Yuhua God Dynasty, the One Nation will pay the price. Princess Yulin shouted coldly. Princess, will you really not consider it? The vixen's expression turned cold. She had the initiative. She wasn't afraid of Princess Yulin. Get lost. The people of the Yuhua God Dynasty can protect this Jade Gate Pass on our own. If you speak another word of nonsense, I will kill you on the spot. Princess Yulin said coldly. The vixen's expression changed. In the end, she coldly snorted and flew away. Clang! The son of the sword god suddenly drew his sword. Sword energy shot out and directly killed this vixen. Shuash! Everyone looked at him. Princess Yulin asked in confusion. Why did you kill her? Because I don't like her. The son of the sword god gave a woeful answer. In the Northwest Territory, Lin Jiufeng had consistently conditioned himself for the past 2 months. The outside world was turbulent, but the mountain sea realm remained as quiet as the night. Today, Lin Jiufeng met Bai Tiandi, who had come out to farm. Lin Jiufeng suddenly asked, "Do you want to go outside and take a look at this world?" Chapter 217, Who said that no one can save her? Lin Jiufeng had no idea what was happening in the outside world. But Lin Jiufeng, who lived deep in the Northwest Territory, could still sense the fluctuations of the great battles outside. He could sense everything. He was infinitely close to the false immortal realm, so sensing these things wasn't a problem for him at all. A huge war broke out at the borders of the Yuhua God Dynasty. Many forces targeted the Yuhua God Dynasty and used the catastrophe of the parasite worms as an excuse to make their moves. To Lin Jiufeng, the catastrophe of the parasite worms only happened because he killed King Xian. Since it was technically his fault, he wanted to solve it for the Yuhua God Dynasty. In addition, he also spent nearly 100 years of his life in the Yuhua God Dynasty. He also watched Princess Yulin and Emperor De grow up. Lin Jiufeng had no reason not to lend them a hand. But he couldn't leave for the time being. Lin Jiufeng was currently conditioning his soul, body, and mind for a battle. He was already at a critical stage. If he were to go out now, all his efforts would be in vain. He would have to start conditioning himself all over again, which would end up wasting a lot of his time. At this moment, Lin Jiufeng saw Bai Tiandi walking out with a hoe on his back. Lin Jiufeng walked over and asked cordially, "Do you want to go outside and take a look at this world?" Bai Tiandi, who was about to tend to his fields, heard Lin Jiufeng's words. He stood frozen, stunned. He looked at the amiable and smiling Lin Jiufeng. His heart went cold. Lin Jiufeng had never once smiled like this to anyone for the past 3 years. Scary. What was even more terrifying was that Lin Jiufeng was actually letting him leave. In the past 3 years, not one of them managed to walk out of the oasis. What was Lin Jiufeng's intention in letting him out? "Mr. Lin, if you want me to die, just say it." "There's no need to go through so much trouble," Bai Tiandi said bluntly. Lin Jiufeng knew that Bai Tiandi had misunderstood. He shook his head and said, "I just wanted to ask you if you want to go to the northern plains. It's not far from the Northwest Territory, you can go there and take a look." Bai Tiandi asked suspiciously, "Just go and take a look?" "Of course, if you are kind-hearted, it won't be a problem for you to give some help to others too, am I right?" Lin Jiufeng chuckled meaningfully. "Help? Who?" Bai Tiandi went straight to the point. He did want to go out and take a look. Although he knew that Lin Jiufeng was only letting him out to help some people and solve some problems outside, he was still willing to do Lin Jiufeng's bidding even if it meant that he had to come back once he was done with his duties. "Go help the people of the Yuhua God Dynasty. Come back here once you've solved their problems," Lin Jiufeng calmly replied. "All right, I'll go now." Bai Tiandi was very straightforward. He put down the hoe. Dressed in rough linen clothes, his pants were stained with yellow mud. His skin was dark, making him look like a farmer who was about to leave his village for the first time. But despite his appearance, he moved very fast. With one step, he disappeared from Lin Jiufeng's sight. Lin Jiufeng was satisfied with the outcome as he muttered, "All right, problem solved. Now I can continue to adjust my condition and wait for the final battle." Bai Tiandi was at the void returning realm. Wouldn't it be easy for him to deal with those people outside? It took Bai Tiandi less than 5 minutes to leave the Mountain Sea realm in the Northwest Territory and arrive at the Northern Plains. He personally witnessed the situation of this world during his journey. Inside the Jade Gate Pass, the roads were clean and the official roads crisscrossed. Although the common people were moving in a hurry with worried looks on their faces, they didn't seem to be panicking as they moved cautiously. Outside the Jade Gate Pass, the flames of war raged on. The battle between the soldiers and the parasite worms, the battle between the soldiers and the cavalry of the plains, and the earth-shattering and aggressive killing intent from the amalgamation of so many deaths filled the air. The air smelled pungent for Bai Tiandi. Outside the Jade Gate Pass, corpses were everywhere. There was a fight everywhere. After the son of the sword god killed the One Nation's representative at noon, the war immediately started a few hours later. Great Xia Dragon Sparrow, One Nation, demon sects, Taoist sects, aristocratic families, other various sects. These people all took action, invading en masse. They wanted to break the Jade Gate Pass in one go. Princess Yulin brought a group of powerhouses and went out of the city to fight. King Realm experts against King Realm powerhouses. If they fought inside the Jade Gate Pass, the pass would immediately collapse. Hence, Princess Yulin brought them to a place far from the Jade Gate Pass to fight. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers stood in confrontation. Their auras were aggressive. Their life force surged as smoke started to rise from all directions. But all of these added up couldn't compare to the strength of a single King Realm cultivator. True Qi swept up a huge mountain and smashed it down ruthlessly. It was the scene of a mountain collapsing. A Buddhist monk acted. With a raise of his hand, a Buddhist kingdom appeared in his palm. He flipped his hand and pressed down. With a bang, it exploded, directly pushing back this King Realm opponent. Monk Fusan was still very powerful after all these years. But this was also because he was quite talented himself. During this period of time, he turned his life around. Not only did he not die, but he also became stronger. Suppressing the demonic dens for thousands of years had become a form of tempering for him which bolstered the potential of his cultivation base. The fragrance of the plum blossoms came from the bitter cold. He survived the coldest winter and welcomed the spring that belonged to him. A new world had opened its doors for him. He broke through to the boundless realm and arrived at the King Realm. Moreover, he could fight 3 to 5 cultivators at the same stage as him at once. But although Monk Fusan could fight multiple enemies at once, the others weren't that strong. They had more than 20 King Realm opponents in the first place. In addition to the 10 from the One Nation. The number of King Realm experts that they had to deal with suddenly soared to more than 30. In contrast, there were less than 10 King Realm experts on Princess Yulin's side. Even though Monk Fusan was fighting 1 against 3 and even 1 against 5, the others found it hard to endure through their fight. Princess Yulin's side was already on the defensive when the fight started. Even if Princess Yulin and the son of the sword god made breakthroughs at the last minute and arrived at the King Realm, their strength would still be just a drop in the bucket. They couldn't resist the enemies at all. Boom! A ferocious blade light tore through the sky and headed straight for Princess Yulin. Decades ago, the king of the Great Xia Dragon Sparrow wanted to marry you and establish a good relationship with the Unrivalled God Dynasty, but you refused. Now, it's my turn to be the king. I am going to kidnap you and bring you back with me to bear my children. Your genes are excellent. The children you'll give birth to will definitely be prodigies. The new king of the Great Xia Dragon Sparrow King was proud and arrogant. He was filled with desire as he stared at Princess Yulin. Flying sword technique. Princess Yulin shouted. She drew her sword to meet the enemy and slashed out. Clang! But this sword strike of hers was blocked. The ferocious blade light directly shattered Princess Yulin's sword light. I'm much stronger than you. Your job from now on will be to give birth to my children. This is your destiny. Do not fight it. The Great Xia Dragon Sparrow's king excitedly exclaimed. Get lost. Princess Yulin only replied with disdain. So you're a wild horse, I like to conquer wild horses. The Great Xia Dragon Sparrow King laughed arrogantly.
He stretched out his large hand, wanting to grab Princess Yulin into his arms.
The domineering true qi instantly sealed Princess Yulin's body. She found herself frozen, unable to move. Princess Yulin fell into despair. Her beautiful eyes turned dim. Am I really going to be captured? She murmured in her heart. She would rather die than accept the life that she would have once she was caught. Teacher Master, I still failed to live up to your swordsmanship. At this moment, Princess Yulin thought of Lin Jiufeng. Her big granduncle was also her teacher master on the path of cultivation. He must be very disappointed in me. Princess Yulin smiled bitterly. She was also disappointed in herself. Just surrender obediently. Giving birth to my children is your destiny. You will serve me for the rest of your life. The great Xia Dragon Sparrow King maniacally laughed. He was indeed proud and arrogant. No one can save you now. Boom! In the very next moment, the world itself darkened. A huge hand appeared out of thin air above everyone, covering the sky and blocking the sun. The world instantly turned dark. Then, a slap landed. An extremely terrifying energy fluctuation swept in all directions, forcing the forces of the Yuhua God Dynasty away to safety. As for those King Realm powerhouses who weren't from the Yuhua God Dynasty, they died instantly. Who said that no one can save her? An indifferent voice reverberated between heaven and earth. The king of the great Xia Dragon Sparrow watched in surprise. Just as he was about to speak, his body suddenly trembled. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. His tendons and veins were severed as he fell weakly to the ground. Chapter 218, The most powerful person in the world. Could an intense battle be suddenly forced to a stop? Could the battle between the frenzied soldiers and the parasite worms come to halt? Yes. A palm was enough. The palm that blotted out the sun and covered the sky shocked the many experts on the battlefield. They could not help but look toward the sky. There was actually such a terrifying and powerful person in this world? His palm alone covered everything above and cleansed the wind and clouds. After it landed, the King Realm cultivators that were not standing on the Yuhua God Dynasty's side instantly died. Some of the more powerful King Realms didn't die, but they spat large mouthfuls of blood one after another. Their faces turned as pale as paper, and their bodies incessantly trembled in the wake of the palm strike. A few seconds later, they directly fell to the ground. Bang! 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 The King Realm cultivators who were already severely injured had their injuries exacerbated. They were now on their last breaths. The originally intense battlefield became quiet. The frenzied warriors below were shocked. They quickly retreated and looked at the huge palm in the sky. Their faces turned pale. Wasn't this too terrifying? A single palm covered the entire sky. How strong was the owner of this palm? Although most of the parasite worms had no brains, the brainless ones had long died after the consecutive lengthy battles that they fought against the forces of the Yuhua God Dynasty. The remaining ones were all parasite worms that evolved to become more intelligent than their peers. Sensing that something was amiss, they retreated faster than the Yuhua God Dynasty's soldiers. The originally chaotic and intense battlefield was now filled with nothing but silence. Princess Yulin brought the group of powerhouses and pulled away. She watched in equal doubt and surprise. The huge palm in the sky disappeared. Sunlight shone down, blinding Princess Yulin's eyes. He's on the Jade Gate Pass. Princess Yulin's eyes quickly locked onto the person who attacked. Bai Tiandi was on the Jade Gate Pass. He looks like a farmer, the son of the sword god frowned. Why would a farmer come here? Wait, how could a farmer be that strong? He must be a hidden expert. The king of rogue cultivators deduced. He's walking on air towards us, the son of the god of swords softly said. Everyone instantly became nervous. Recalling the might of that huge palm just now, everyone became afraid. Even Monk Fusan became afraid. Without saying a word, he pressed his palms together as if indicating that he was just an honest monk. As for the other powerhouses outside the pass, or the powerhouses of the sects and aristocratic families,
they trembled in fear upon seeing Bai Tiandi walking over to the Yuhua God Dynasty's side.
Several King Realm experts on their last breaths even directly died from fear. When Bai Tiandi landed, he didn't look at anyone else. He just looked at Princess Yulin and asked, "Are you from the Yuhua God Dynasty?" Princess Yulin hurriedly nodded and said, "Yes, we are from the Yuhua God Dynasty." "Senior, are you also from the Yuhua God Dynasty?" "I'm not." Bai Tiandi shook his head. "But someone asked me to come and help you guys."
"I casually slapped with my palm just now. I don't know if that's enough to solve all your troubles at once."
"If you have any more problems to deal with, just tell me and I'll deal with it for you."
It would be best if there were more troubles that he had to deal with. This way, he could stay for a few more days instead of just returning not even a day after he escaped from the oasis.
If that happened, then Bai Tiandi would consider this trip a waste of his time.
Bai Tiandi didn't know when he would be able to come out of the oasis once again. Lin Jiufeng wouldn't let them out so easily after all. At this moment, Bai Tiandi also understood Lin Jiufeng's worry.
The most powerful people in this world were only at the King Realm.
They were mere ants before void-returning realm experts.
If they were truly released into this world, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hence, he can only pray that he could stay for a few more days and take a look at the beautiful sceneries of this world before returning to the oasis. Bai Tiandi thought.
What he didn't know was that his remark about casually slapping with his palm had scared Princess Yulin and the others.
Wasn't he simply too powerful?
Fortunately, Bai Tiandi was on their side. Otherwise, not one of them would be able to escape from this powerhouse.
"Senior, who asked you to help our Yuhua God Dynasty?" Princess Yulin suddenly had a flash of inspiration.
She thought of someone and the thought of him gave her excitement at once. He was the person she cared about the most. He was her lifelong mentor.
He was also the Yuhua God Dynasty's guardian deity. She knew that the Yuhua God Dynasty's guardian deity wouldn't remain idle and watch. Princess Yulin looked at Bai Tiandi eagerly, hoping to get the answer she was looking for. Bai Tiandi said, "We don't know his name, but we call him Mr. Lin." "Mr. Lin," Princess Yulin mumbled.
Then, she smiled happily. She became filled with excitement, the kind of excitement that made her want to jump up and down.
"It's indeed Teacher Master. It's Big Granduncle. The guardian deity of our Yuhua God Dynasty. He's still here. He's paying attention to the Yuhua God Dynasty. He has once again saved the Yuhua God Dynasty from certain peril."
Princess Yulin tried her best to suppress her excitement, but she simply couldn't. A smile blossomed on her gorgeous face.
"The Mr. Lin that you mentioned is my teacher master." Princess Yulin proudly introduced herself. She was proud of being Lin Jiufeng's disciple. Bai Tiandi wasn't surprised. He mumbled, "I knew it. If it wasn't someone important, he wouldn't have released me so easily."
As soon as his words came out, everyone wore weird looks on their faces.
A powerful person like Bai Tiandi was actually being held hostage by this Mr. Lin? And the latter has just released him temporarily to help the Yuhua God Dynasty? Okay, tell me if there's anything else that I need to do. Otherwise, I will have to take my leave. Bai Tiandi interrupted their imaginations. "Ah, yes.
I would like to ask Senior to stay for a few more days and wait until the war is over before leaving," Princess Yulin immediately replied.
Bai Tiandi didn't decline her invitation. This was what he had been waiting for.
He smiled amicably and said, "Since you were so kind as to invite me, I won't stand on ceremony then.
I will stay for 2 more days. If you need anything, just let me know. If I am needed just yet, then I will take a look around." Princess Yulin looked at this Bai Tiandi who seemed to have finally come out of prison after a long time.
She smiled and remarked,
"I'm very familiar with the plains. I'll guide Senior around. There's nothing else for me to do?" Bai Tiandi looked around. Princess Yulin looked at the group of King Realm experts who were on the verge of death. She sighed with emotion.
"If we still need your help in this situation, then we are a bunch of useless leeches."
"I'll bring you around," she quickly added. Senior, can you tell me more about what my teacher master is doing recently? Princess Yulin took Bai Tiandi out on a tour. No problem. Show me around this huge plains then. The oasis deep in the Northwest Territory is too small and it's too boring to look at. Emperor Bai complained. I'll lead the way, you can just follow me, Senior. Princess Yulin immediately said. She was quite familiar with the plains. Decades ago, Lin Jiufeng brought her here. She even went to Wolf Story Mountain and attacked the White and Red Palace at its summit. The scenery back then and today practically remained the same. For the next 2 days, Princess Yulin brought Bai Tiandi to see the plains and even went to Wolf Story Mountain. However, they didn't alert anyone and only killed the most powerful person in Wolf Story Mountain. Then, they left quietly. No one came to know about their presence. It wasn't until a few days later that people discovered their actions. Princess Yulin couldn't help but ask in shock. Senior, just how powerful are you? To think that you can actually kill the most powerful person in Wolf Story Mountain without even breaking a sweat. I'm not that powerful. In front of your teacher master, I'm not powerful at all. Bai Tiandi sighed. Is my teacher master that powerful? What realm is he at? Princess Yulin asked curiously. He's probably the most powerful person in this world. As for what realm he is at, how would I know? Bai Tiandi waved his hand. I see, Princess Yulin seemed to be in deep thought. Chapter 219, The Vengeful Lin Jiufeng. 2 days passed in a flash. To Bai Tiandi, these 2 days were very fulfilling. He saw the appearance of a brand new world other than the mountain sea realm. He saw vast lands and fertile plains. He chatted happily with Princess Yulin and learned a lot about the world through her. This experience was an eye-opener for Bai Tiandi. Princess Yulin was puzzled. Why was Bai Tiandi so ignorant about these common things despite being so powerful? But Bai Tiandi said that he had just arrived in this brand new world from another world and was currently being imprisoned in the ancient city of the oasis. He never had the chance to go anywhere just yet. Hearing this, Princess Yulin finally understood that it was normal that he didn't know. At first, Princess Yulin misunderstood Bai Tiandi's words. He thought that he was from the previous era who had just come into being in the current era. But what she didn't expect was that he was actually from a whole new hidden world. This was his first time stepping into this world. After 2 days, Bai Tiandi bade farewell to Princess Yulin. Standing on the emerald green plains, Bai Tiandi was dressed in simple rough hemp clothes. He no longer had the confident and arrogant character that he had in the mountain sea realm. He had changed and became more amicable. Perhaps this was because he received a too big of a blow from Lin Jiufeng. Princess Yulin stood beside Bai Tiandi. Her clothes fluttered slightly, and the breeze lifted her beautiful hair. She looked at Bai Tiandi with curiosity in her eyes. This new world is quite beautiful. It's a pity that I can't stay here for too long. Bai Tiandi looked regretful. Why? Princess Yulin asked. She didn't know what he was talking about. Because your teacher master won't allow us to appear in this world just yet. He probably won't let us appear in this world for the time being, Bai Tiandi calmly replied. After 3 years, his heart had long calmed down. He was no longer angry at Lin Jiufeng for keeping them in the oasis. Lin Jiufeng created a prison for them and imprisoned them in one place. He didn't hurt them, and in essence, he did it for the sake of this new world outside. This, Princess Yulin smiled awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Actually, it's okay. This world is simply too fragile to house us all at once. It's better for us to wait for a while. Bai Tiandi smiled at Princess Yulin and turned around to leave. He took a step forward and the void instantly split apart. It swallowed Bai Tiandi and he disappeared without a trace. Princess Yulin looked at the place where Bai Tiandi disappeared. She fell into a daze. After a long time, she retracted her emotions and said, with big granduncle's help, we once again crushed those ambitious people. This world will finally be at peace once more. The might of Bai Tiandi's attack this time would surely spread throughout the world.
The Yuhua God Dynasty's influence and standing would definitely soar as a result. No one would dare to attack the Yuhua God Dynasty in the near future. The truth was just as she thought. The battle outside the Jade Gate Pass shocked the world. Be it the Yuhua God Dynasty, the monster race, the barbarians, the plains, or the factions overseas. They all fell silent. This was especially true for the One Nation. Their hearts were bleeding. They lost 10 King Realm experts just like that. Some people even looked at the Yuhua God Dynasty. They couldn't hold back their emotions as they furiously spat. Why does the Yuhua God Dynasty have so many trump cards? The Northwest Territory had fierce winds, so there was yellow soil flying around everywhere. But compared to 3 years ago, the place had become greener and much better scenery-wise. Deep in the Northwest Territory, in the Mountain Sea realm, the ancient city in the middle of an oasis had become a restricted area. No one dared to come and visit the oasis, especially after the Battle of King Xian that happened not long ago. The terrifying aura that appeared here scared those people in the Northwest Territory who had thoughts of visiting the oasis. They obediently cut off their unrealistic thoughts. Hence, Lin Jiufeng's simple life continued. He adjusted his condition bit by bit every day, waiting for the heavy rain in that upcoming battle. A few days passed since Bai Tiandi went out. After sending Bai Tiandi out, he didn't pay attention to the battle anymore. With Bai Tiandi's interference, he could already predict the result. Bai Tiandi was an invincible existence to the people outside. There was no trouble that he couldn't solve out there. Hence, when Bai Tiandi returned, Lin Jiufeng wasn't surprised to see him with a smile. Lin Jiufeng asked, "Have you solved everything?" This question was just a matter of formalities. Because Lin Jiufeng already knew the answer. "It's settled." "It's not a big problem," Bai Tiandi casually replied. Lin Jiufeng nodded. To him, it really wasn't a big problem. "But I met your disciple, a beautiful girl." Bai Tiandi's lips suddenly curled up. Lin Jiufeng frowned. His only female disciple was Princess Yulin. Seeing Bai Tiandi's behavior, Lin Jiufeng coldly spat. "It's just an encounter. Everyone will meet many people in their lives." "No, this isn't a simple encounter. In the past 2 days, we toured the plains together and went to Wolf Story Mountain. We talked happily with each other and enjoyed each other's company." Bai Tiandi looked at Lin Jiufeng and revealed a happy smile. "Is that so?" Lin Jiufeng's face darkened. "Of course. Your disciple is a very beautiful woman. I am looking forward to meeting her again. I think she feels the same way too." Bai Tiandi deliberately said this in front of Lin Jiufeng. Then he turned around and decisively left. Looking at Lin Jiufeng's dark face, he almost laughed out loud. "You won't be able to leave this place anytime soon," Lin Jiufeng said directly. Bai Tiandi pretended not to hear it. "No, you should stay in the ancient city for the rest of your life," Lin Jiufeng added. Bai Tiandi waved his hand. Without turning his head, he said, "Then, can I ask Princess Yulin to come here and visit me? She will probably like this place. It's quiet, peaceful, and the scenery here is beautiful. She might choose to settle here with me." Lin Jiufeng's face turned terrifyingly dark. The white cat snickered at the side. Seeing Lin Jiufeng like this, she teased. "Why do you look like the flower you have painstakingly raised is about to be taken away?" Lin Jiufeng didn't say a word. He turned around and walked to the lakeside. He wanted to be alone. He didn't speak for the entire day. On the second day, Lin Jiufeng looked at the white cat and asked, "I feel that Bai Tiandi needs to receive a few lessons from society." The white cat smiled happily and said, "I didn't know that you could be so vengeful." Humph. Lin Jiufeng couldn't be bothered with her. He truly watched Princess Yulin grow up. She was also his only disciple, Emperor Yuan's biological granddaughter, and also his grandniece. Seeing that someone was coveting his family's flower, it would be a miracle if Lin Jiufeng was happy. Princess Yulin is already a grown-up. I don't think it's a problem if she gets close to Bai Tiandi. Why even worry about it?
Bai Tiandi is a good person. The white cat commented. In fact, can you even find a better candidate than Bai Tiandi? The white cat asked Lin Jiufeng. Lin Jiufeng was rendered speechless. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I want some peace and quiet. Lin Jiufeng went fishing on his own. Seeing Lin Jiufeng throw a rare tantrum, the white cat felt that he was quite adorable like this. She ran to Lin Jiufeng's side and laid down. She didn't mention the matter just now and changed the subject. How much longer do you need to condition yourself? Lin Jiufeng thought for a while before saying, I still need a little more time. If you are going to fight with a false immortal, the Northwest Territory will be destroyed, won't it? The white cat guessed. Such a powerful battle would probably completely destroy the Northwest Territory. I will go into the Mountain Sea realm. Lin Jiufeng raised his head and looked at the huge door. A faint fire kindled in his eyes. Chapter 220, Rain entering the Mountain Sea realm was something that Lin Jiufeng had decided long ago. The battle with the false immortal would definitely be intense. It would be harmful to this fragile world. Lin Jiufeng didn't want to destroy this world. Thus, he could only choose to enter the Mountain Sea realm. The false immortal in the Mountain Sea realm was also conditioning himself while waiting for Lin Jiufeng. Are you confident? The white cat was quite anxious. Lin Jiufeng smiled and said, Rest assured, don't worry about me. The white cat said, Can you bring me along? No, guard the ancient oasis for me outside, Lin Jiufeng said. How can I do that? I am too weak. The white cat rejected without thinking. I will tell them. If I am defeated, they will be able to leave and won't have to suffer staying in this prison anymore. But if I win, they will have to continue to stay here. Lin Jiufeng calmly explained. What if they don't listen? The white cat was still worried. They will listen. They are smart people, Lin Jiufeng replied. The white cat was rendered speechless. She was a little unhappy. I feel that I'm too weak. Work hard in cultivating then. Strive to improve yourself. Lin Jiufeng gently advised. My rate of improvement is already fast compared to others. You are simply a freak in cultivation. The white cat looked at Lin Jiufeng in despair. No, you can still be faster. I'm sure of it. Your rate of improvement can be faster. Lin Jiufeng tapped the white cat's head. Has your bloodline awakened yet? Lin Jiufeng asked. Awaken my A*S. I've been cultivating for so many years, but I never felt anything waking up at all. The white cat cursed in despair. Lin Jiufeng stopped talking. He didn't understand the little white cat's situation either. It was very strange. Take your time then. Don't worry, I won't abandon you. Lin Jiufeng reassured. Meow. Another 10 days passed in such a peaceful manner. Nothing happened in the past 10 days. After Bai Tiandi's return, he continued to farm. Everything stayed the same as before. But Bai Tiandi would occasionally feel that someone was staring at him with unfriendly eyes. He suspected that it was Lin Jiufeng. But he had no evidence. Other than that, everything else was normal. Everyone didn't ask much about Bai Tiandi's disappearance for 2 days. They were all people with vast experiences in life. They naturally knew what to ask and what not to ask. On this day, Lin Jiufeng brought the white cat to Old Man Luo's breakfast shop early in the morning. The same 3 items, Lin Jiufeng said. He chose an empty table and sat down. There were many people in the breakfast shop, including Bai Tiandi and Fire Lord. Old Man Luo used his family's heirloom skills to conquer everyone. He even hired people to help him manage the business. The people who worked for him were all cultivators at the Spirit Platform realm. If news of this spread, it would definitely scare people to death. But here, who wasn't a supreme powerhouse? Mr. Lin, in the past few months, no new people have come out. Are you not going to let the weaker ones come out? Old Man Luo brought breakfast and asked curiously. The others looked at Lin Jiufeng too.
Lin Jiufeng calmly picked up his chopsticks and replied, "Everyone above the King Realm and the Mountain Sea Realm is already here. I will release those below the King Realm sometime later, but not now." After receiving the answer, Old Man Luo didn't ask anymore. He smiled and planned to continue his work. But Lin Jiufeng stopped him. "Who is the most powerful person in the Mountain Sea Realm?" Lin Jiufeng picked up a fried dough stick and asked. Old Man Luo was dazed for a while. Then, he answered. "It's Elder Mountain Sea." "Elder Mountain Sea?" Lin Jiufeng raised his brows. "Tell me more about him." Lin Jiufeng asked curiously. Old Man Luo said, "Mountain Sea Elder is the only false immortal in our world. Originally, our small world wasn't that big. Although there's an abundance of spiritual energy in the Mountain Sea realm, our great Tao is incomplete. We could only cultivate to the peak of the void returning realm. It has been like this since ancient times. Then, the people inside will slowly age and die. No one was able to make a breakthrough into the false immortal realm. But 1,000 years ago, Elder Mountain Sea appeared out of nowhere. He was the sole cultivator at the false immortal realm. Making a breakthrough into the false immortal realm was unprecedented for all of us, but he did it. Afterwards, we all visited him and asked him how he made his breakthrough. Elder Mountain Sea wasn't stingy. He told us everything." Lin Jiufeng asked curiously, "How did he make a breakthrough?" Elder Mountain Sea completely integrated his primordial spirit into the Mountain Sea realm, becoming the only god in the Mountain Sea realm. "Only he can do this, no one else can do so anymore," Old Man Luo said regretfully. "You're saying that he fused his primordial spirit into the Mountain Sea realm and used the great Tao inside to make a breakthrough into the false immortal realm?" Lin Jiufeng asked. "That's right. Ever since he broke through to the false immortal realm, his strength became as terrifying as that of a god. He's too scary to fight against." Old Man Luo smacked his lips in fear. "I see." Lin Jiufeng nodded in understanding. He had previously wondered why there was only one false immortal in the Mountain Sea realm. Why was it that no one else was at the false immortal realm? Hearing Old Man Luo's words, it became obvious that it wasn't that they didn't want to. They simply couldn't do so. The only opportunity was already in the hands of this Elder Mountain Sea. He decisively cut off the path of others. It was no wonder that they were willing to be imprisoned by Lin Jiufeng in the ancient city instead of being forced to return to the Mountain Sea realm. "Mr. Lin, why are you asking this?" Old Man Luo asked, puzzled. The others also looked at Lin Jiufeng curiously. "Oh, it's nothing much. I just want to know more about him. After breakfast, I will go inside and take him down," Lin Jiufeng casually remarked. Then, he took a bite of the fried dough stick in his hand. But as soon as he said this, the surrounding crowd was petrified. They looked at Lin Jiufeng in disbelief. They looked at Lin Jiufeng in shock. Defeat him after breakfast? Did they hear him wrongly? Elder Mountain Sea was the sole false immortal in the Mountain Sea realm. A false immortal expert. He wasn't just any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Everyone in the breakfast shop was shocked by Lin Jiufeng's words. But Lin Jiufeng continued to leisurely consume his breakfast. "By the way, once I'm inside, this white cat will be looking out for you lot. You lot aren't allowed to bully her, all right? Also, don't even think about trying to escape while I'm not around. If you do so, then be prepared for the consequences," Lin Jiufeng calmly stated. "Mr. Lin, are you already at the false immortal realm?" Fire Lord asked in shock. Lin Jiufeng shook his head. "Not yet." The others didn't know what to say. Not yet, so he was preparing to make a breakthrough? "Mr. Lin, are you sure that you can defeat Elder Mountain Sea?" Bai Tiandi gulped a mouthful of his own saliva and asked. Lin Jiufeng looked at him and replied solemnly, "I'm confident. My chance of winning is at least 50%. Sensing Lin Jiufeng's unfriendly gaze, Bai Tiandi smiled rather awkwardly. "All right, I'm done with the meal. It's time for me to enter the Mountain Sea realm." Lin Jiufeng left the rest to the white cat.
He got up and walked out of the breakfast shop under everyone's gaze. Boom! 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 The sky was originally clear and bright, but at this moment, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Dark clouds covered the sky and a tempest blew. Tick! 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 Rain fell. At first, it was just raindrops, but in an instant, it turned into a downpour. Shuash! The heavy rain drenched the world. Lin Jiufeng reached out and caught the rainwater in his hand. He smiled and said, "It's raining."